Chapter 9. As everyone in Team 7, 8, 9, 10 their sensei Minato, Kushina and Kyuubi arrived in the Hokage office along with two teams of Umbu who had began to heal Naruto, and Anko the Sandame said, "Okay, what's going on?" Minato said, "Not until Naruto has been healed completely." Sarutobi frowned and motioned for the Umbu to get his personal medic, and after 20 minutes the medic finished and left the room while shaking his head and talking about Ghost along with the two teams of Umbu who went to make sure no one entered the room. Naruto groaned as he slowly woke up and felt his arms in bandages, and he blinked and looked at his arms and thought, what the hell? As he looked around the room, and he frowned when he saw Minato and a pet porter that had a fox in it, and he felt someone rubbing their hand through his hair and looked up and saw Kushina, and he said, "Okay. This all must be an alcohol-induced dream or nightmare." As he frowned as he tried to move his arm and said, "I'm not dreaming, am I?" as he felt pain shoot through his arms. Kushina said, "Nope." Naruto frowned and said, "So you the fur ball and he are all here?" As he looked around the room. Kushina nods and Naruto asked, "And the ceiling? Did the curse seal break? Is Anko okay?" Kurenai said, "She's fine, Naruto. The doctor said she just passed out from mostly chakra exhaustion and the seal's gone." Naruto looked relieved as he let out a slow breath after hearing that and thanks Kurenai, who nods, and Naruto said, "Well, would someone explain what the hell's going on? I mean, I can see Team 7, 8, 9 and 10 here, so I assume we were all going to have a team training scheduled for today when Anko took— Oh, that's right, I got worried a moment about the scroll, but I just remember I sealed it in my shoulder after I got it back. So Mom, not that I'm not happy, but what are you and the bastard over there alive in the real world for, and why isn't the village in an uproar about the Kyuubi being here?" Minato winced and said, "Look son, I know you hate me, but..." Naruto screamed, "Hate you? I don't hate you. I understand perfectly. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few and all that bullshit, and that you didn't have a choice because I have your knowledge of seals, so I know that you didn't have any other way to stop the fox. Fine, I can handle that, and once I can use my arms again, I'm going to break your fucking jaw with my fist, just to make us even. What I am though, is pissed at you for being an incompetent asshole. Mom could have been here all these years if you would have actually put the seal on me right and double-checked your work. I'm also pissed that you left me nothing, no home to live and no money to live off of, no one to look after me, no instructions on what to do should the people ignore your final wish, and you didn't tell anyone about those fucking books that nearly killed me. As a Kage, you're still one of the greatest in the world in my eyes, and did what any leader should do to protect his people. As a father though," as he glared at Minato, leaving the rest of the sentence unfinished. Sasuke said, "Will someone explain what you are all talking about?" Getting irritated. Naruto turned and said, 15 years ago on October 9th, the day before the Kyuubi attacked our village, I was born. My mother was passing away from the poison that an assassin gave her in hopes of killing her, so she used a sealing method to seal her body and soul inside a seal on my body, and the seal you saw on my neck was designed to make it where her and me would be able to talk even though she was sealed, so I could have her in my life. However, dear old dad there screwed up on the seal. Maybe it was because he was interrupted being informed about Kyuubi, maybe it was because he was upset about Mom, or because he's an idiot. I don't know, but whatever it was, he broke the cardinal rule of sealing by not completing a seal. Then the very next day Foxy over there attacks our village, and being the leader of our village, he used a forbidden jutsu and a sealing jutsu to— Hey, how the hell are you alive? Your soul was supposed to be ate by the Shinigami for using that jutsu. Minato, who was feeling sorry for his mistake, said, "I used a jutsu to take the Kyuubi and sealed it into several pieces to make it where the Kyuubi would never be able to attack our village again, since it is impossible to kill a demon. I summoned the Shinigami to seal the Kyuubi body inside my own body so that it would be destroyed. When my body was destroyed, I sealed half of the Kyuubi chakra and its soul in Naruto, and I sealed the other half of Kyuubi chakra somewhere else that is a secret. With the last of my strength, when the Shinigami was taking my soul, I was able to seal a piece of my soul in the seal with the Kyuubi soul, so in case the seal ever became damaged, I could repair the damage to protect you, son. And if any of you think that makes him the Kyuubi, then you're an idiot. If I seal a kunai in a scroll, does that make the scroll the kunai, or are they two separate things even though one is sealed in the other?" As he glared at everyone in the room and unleashed a little ki. After several moments, Minato said, "Anyway, I asked Sarutobi to tell the people that Naruto was a hero for protecting them from the Kyuubi, but most of the people of the village ignored that request, calling for his death, forbidding him from access to stores, buildings, sabotaging his education, trying to poison him and attacking him, breaking into his place and destroying his belongings, and much worse. I saw everything you went through from inside the seal, son." Sarutobi winced as he heard this and said, and if you're wondering why you never heard this before is because I made a law saying it was illegal to speak about the fate of the Kyuubi being inside of Naruto in hopes that Naruto could grow up as a normal child, but sadly, the people found ways around that law by telling those his age that he was bad or trouble or to stay away from him and far worse things. As he lowered his hat, Naruto frowned and said, the worst part is I never even knew why I was treated the way I was. It wasn't until Mizuki-team tried to kill me the day we graduated and he told me that I found out. Shocking all the Genins, but Tenten as they thought over their past actions around Naruto. Sasuke said, so is that the secret you were hiding from us? The one the sensei knew but couldn't speak about. Naruto nods and a giggle was heard drawing everyone's attention and Tenten said, what's so funny, godmother? Kushina said, oh, I just thought of the reaction everyone would have if they knew the entire truth. I mean, I think I know why the Kyuubi attacked Konoha, and even suspect who sent it to attack Konoha. I know the truth about the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan and how they got their bloodlines, and I also know the origins of all the bloodlines in the world. With an amused smile on her face. Naruto said, you do, Mom, but how? Kushina said, because if I would have still been alive and unsealed when the Kyuubi attacked Konoha, I could have done the same thing I did to release the Kyuubi, your father and me, from the seals we were in, and stop the Kyuubi without anyone dying. Naruto sat up wincing and looked at Kushina and Minato, asked how. Kushina sighed and said, I guess if I'm going to tell you then I should explain where it all began with the Six-Realm Sage. Shikamaru said, the Six-Realm Sage. The god of chakra. The man who taught the world how to use chakra. Kushina said, yes. You see, the sage wasn't from our realm. He was actually from another dimension who left his homeworld because he was a Jinchuriki or a human who had a demon sealed in him like Naruto, but the demon he had sealed in him wasn't just any demon, it was the most powerful demon of his world. When he arrived here, he knew when he died the demon inside him would be released, so he was looking for a world with very little human life in it because he knew the demon would kill everyone it could when it was free. The reason he taught the people of this world how to use chakra was to defend themselves against the demon when it was released. It was his way of trying to atone for his guilt of what he was going to release on our world, however that was when it happened. Kurenai asked what happened. In a shock voice. Kushina laughed and said he fell in love, he met a woman who he fell in love with and wound up having 3 children by her. A daughter and 2 sons, twin sons. His guilt became so much that he knew that he had to find a way to protect his 3 children from the demon when it was released, so he took his twin sons and gave one the ability to control demons with his eyes while he gave the other brother the ability to suppress demon chakra with his body. Those 2 boys were the first Senju and Uchiha. Shocking everyone. Sasuke said, so the Sharingan and the Mokuton bloodline was given to our ancestors by the Six-Realm Sage. In a questioning tone, Kushina said yes, though you don't think he would just give his sons an ability to protect themselves without giving his daughter one as well, do you? Minato said the daughter was the first Uzumaki, wasn't she? That was why you said if you were free you could have stopped Kyuubi. Kushina said yes, where one of the brothers could control a demon and another could suppress it, the daughter was given the ability to neutralize demonic chakra by absorbing, purifying and molding it. Uzumaki have the ability to absorb a certain amount of demonic chakra into our bodies without it destroying our bodies, and then able to purify and then mold it like our own chakra. Naruto here is a perfect example with his Kage Bunshin. Even though his reserves are big, they shouldn't be big enough to make that many Kage Bunshin that I heard about from Minato. It's because he's actually drawing on the purified demonic chakra that he had stored in his body, which is more potent than normal chakra, but there's something that not even the sage realized. If a child was conceived when an Uzumaki had purified demonic chakra in his or her bodies, then the child would be born mutated slightly. Can anyone guess what the slight mutation was? Sarutobi said bloodlines, so the legends about bloodlines being from demons were true, from a certain point of view. Kushina said yes and no. Naruto said, Mom, you said we could absorb some demonic chakra into our bodies, but how could you have stopped the Kyuubi? I mean, he's the most powerful demon in the world. The one the sage brought from another dimension. Kushina ruffled Naruto's hair and said actually no, the sage before he died had his 3 children help him break the demon chakra inside of him into 10 pieces. They sealed the 10 pieces into a raccoon, a cat, a turtle, an ape, a dolphin, a slug, a beetle, an ox, a fox and a maggot, and then sealed those 10 in 10 jewels, which had a special seal that would create a special Bunshin body, the very same kind that Kyuubi, Minato and I now have. Those Bunshin would be powered by the chakra of the demon that they had sealed inside each jewel, and as long as they had chakra to power the Bunshin, they could heal from anything just like we can. If I would have been alive when Kyuubi attacked, I could have simply absorbed the Kyuubi chakra, which would have made it shrink back down to the size you now see, where he is just about as strong as that Nin dog there. Minato said, and he could have been killed. Kushina sighed and said, no, you can't kill him or any of the other 9 bijus. Minato said 10, but there are only 9 biju, I never heard of one that looks like a maggot. Kushina said because until Whirlpool was attacked and destroyed it was still in the hands of the Uzumaki clan after the other 9 were stolen by the Uchiha and the Senju clans when they were banished from Whirlpool. Sasuke said, what, how dare you claim that my clan stole them and why were they banished? Kushina said, let me rephrase that, Uchiha. They were stolen by Uchiha Madara and Hashirama Senju to be precise. Making everyone in the room wide-eyed. Sarutobi frowned and said, which is how Madara Uchiha had the Kyuubi when he fought Hashirama Senju for leadership of this village. Kushina said, and how Hashirama was able to blackmail the Uchiha clan into stopping the sibling rivalry that sparked the clan wars when he offered the other 8 biju he stole to the others who were starting ninja villages. In return, the Uchiha clan had a choice: join in forming Konoha or be destroyed by the combined might of all those villages and the Senju clan. Sarutobi said, I always wondered how he got his hands on the biju because I couldn't see him going and hunting down those 8. Sasuke turned in a shocked voice and said, so it's true. Looking at the Sandaime. Kushina said, yes, the reason they were banished is because the Senju and the Uchiha clan were angry over something that the sage did before he died that sparked a rivalry between them, but what it was I don't know, as I wasn't old enough to learn that much of our history before Whirlpool was destroyed. Naruto said, you still didn't explain my question, Mom. Kyuubi was too powerful for you to stop him by yourself if you could only handle so much of the demonic chakra. Kushina said, son, think about it for a minute. Do you understand? Naruto looked confused and shook his head no, and Kushina said, if we could only handle so much demonic chakra at a time, how would we not accidentally kill ourselves by drawing too much demonic chakra over the years as we absorbed the chakra to create all the bloodlines we did, and how is it that Uzumaki were born with our bloodline and not a new bloodline? Naruto said, I don't know, Mom. Kushina said, bloodlines thin out over time, that is why Hashirama was the last Senju who could use the Mokuton bloodline and why the Uchiha clan had more and more members not awakening the Sharingan over the years. The Hyuga clan knows this, which is why they try to keep the marriages inside the family, where cousins or second cousins are often married to try and keep the strength of their bloodline up, since they were also banished from Whirlpool when they had a clan war among themselves and enslaved half their members with the cagebird seal. It is only through the absorption of demonic chakra into their system that keeps a bloodline from being lost to the world. The reason the land of Whirlpool had so many bloodlines while other places in the world didn't wasn't just the fact all the bloodlines originated from there. The bloodlines after they left would thin out, losing enough demonic chakra in their systems to cancel out their bloodlines, while those still in Whirlpool were helping the Uzumaki clan by letting us absorb the chakra from the biju and use our bodies as filters, and then we would send the purified demonic chakra into people who had bloodlines, which would help them keep their bloodlines longer, making the next generation of their bloodlines stronger than the last. You asked me why you never heard of the 10th biju. You have, but you have only heard its name after it was taken after Whirlpool was destroyed. The sword Samahata is in fact the 10th biju, which is a maggot. It was the last biju we drained back to its original strength, just like I did Kyuubi over there earlier today. Naruto asked, how, Mom? Kushina sighed and said, earlier today you had a total of 4 souls inside of you. Your father Kyuubi, me, and your own soul. You also had my body sealed inside you. What you see in front of you is not my original body since it's still sealed in you, and that's not your father's real body or the Kyuubi real body since they were destroyed. The body of Kyuubi that your father sealed inside his body was not the real body of the Kyuubi either. When you were releasing the seal on Anko, you used all your chakra and was starting to draw on the Kyuubi chakra. When you did that, it caused it where the Kyuubi chakra hit the Whirlpool seal on you, and if I didn't act fast, the demonic chakra would have transferred to 1010 and poisoned her body and possibly killed her, since she also has the Whirlpool seal. So what I did was used our ability to absorb demonic chakra and pulled it to where my body was sealed. And I basically made it where my body became a filter for all Kyuubi chakra, purifying it before it is shot back into the seal where Kyuubi was, so you can absorb it easier and not have to worry about poisoning 1010. I also used chakra sealing like you did on that last part of the sealing of Anko and began to mold some of the chakra I was absorbing into 3 special clones, and I bound Kyuubi's soul, your father's soul, and my soul to the bodies, while also putting a Whirlpool seal on the clones' bodies, so as long as they have chakra the bodies will live, and since now anyone who has a Whirlpool seal on them is receiving some of the purified chakra that is sealed inside you, it makes it where we have our own bodies too. Live. Naruto asked, but what if the clones are dispelled? In a worried voice. Kushina shook her head and said, don't worry about it. Like I said, these clone bodies are special, and as long as they have chakra, they can't die or be destroyed. In fact, you could cut off our heads or stab us in the heart and we won't die as long as we have chakra to repair the damage, so the only way to kill us is to destroy the whirlpool seal, which is inside our bodies hidden somewhere, and I won't tell where that is. Minato, who had began to piece things together, and said, Kushina, these clones' bodies that are being powered by the chakra inside of Naruto. Is the chakra inside Naruto from Kyuubi currently being powered by the power in that jewel you mentioned? Kushina nods and said no, Jinchuriki have the ability to heal their bodies, because they had to adapt to the demonic chakra or they would die. Because of this healing ability, the chakra coils of a Jinchuriki never harden like a normal human does over time, so they can get stronger and stronger, able to hold more of the demonic chakra in them. Since the Bijou are basically Jinchuriki themselves, the clone bodies have the same principles, so they can get stronger and stronger over time by gaining physical strength and getting smarter, and since they have lived for hundreds of years is the reason they were actually stronger than Kyuubi is now. All that is actually sealed in Naruto was the chakra inside the Kyuubi body at the time of the sealing. The real demon chakra is stored away, never to be used again. Kyuubi voice startled everyone and said, you are wrong there, human, because I have not been connected to that jewel in many years. When Madara Uchiha lost the first time to Hashirama Senju, and then he killed his brother and took his eyes, he replaced me as the being sealed inside of that crystal and sealed himself in it along with the demonic chakra of the original demon, which is how Madara Uchiha is still alive to this day, because he has the seal creating him a new body like the ones we now have. He sealed me in a pocket dimension with his Sharingan eye until he summoned me 15 years ago and controlled me to attack this village. Once the kid there dies, and the chakra inside of his goes away, then like you and your maid, I will also die. To say everyone was shocked was an understatement, and Sasuke said Madara Uchiha is still alive, then that means he was the other person Itachi spoke about. In a quiet voice. Naruto, who was nearby, was able to hear him and asked, what do you mean, Sasuke? What did Itachi say about Madara? As he turned to him, catching everyone's attention. Sasuke cursed himself and said, Itachi, before he left, he told me that when I had the same eyes as him, there would be 3 of us with them in the world. I didn't think anything about it at the time, but now that I heard the Kyuubi speak about Madara being alive, I think he's the one who Itachi spoke about. Kushina said the Sandaime Mizukage was named Madara, and he knew the Uzumaki clan was the source of all bloodline, which is why the Hidden Mist village attacked Whirlpool and the Mizukage started the bloodline civil war in the Land of Water. That goes with my theory of why the Kyuubi attacked Konoha 15 years ago. The Mizukage sent an assassin to poison me, and the doctors told me I would die from the poison when I gave birth to Naruto. If I would have been alive for the Kyuubi attack, I could have stopped it, so Shikamaru said, so he sent the Kyuubi here to see if you were really gone, trying to destroy the source of all the bloodlines in the world, but why? Sarutobi said several reasons actually. The only jutsu the Sharingan can't copy are bloodlines and sealless jutsu, so they would be the best way to defeat him. Also, there is the fact that the Uchiha clan turned on Madara and supported the Shodaime. When he left, he vowed revenge on the Uchiha clan and Konoha. He sent the Kyuubi to attack Konoha, and if what Sasuke said is true, then that means that he may have helped Itachi kill the Uchiha clan, or since he's basically immortal, drawing power from the demon chakra as Kyuubi said, he could have killed them all himself, and Itachi either took the blame for it to protect Sasuke from going after Madara, who he knew he couldn't defeat since he's immortal, or he joined Madara. Sasuke's eyes widened as he heard this and thought, could it be Kurenai said, but if that's true, then why didn't he just attack and kill everyone in Konoha himself? Naruto frowned and said, me. Drawing everyone attention. Sakura asked, what do you mean, Naruto? Naruto said, if everything mom said was true and Madara is alive like Kyuubi said, then an Uzumaki would be the worst enemy he could face, because we could drain him of his chakra, making him vulnerable. I bet if he was willing to send Kyuubi to Konoha, he would at least find out what happened to it since it was defeated in case he ever wanted to use it again, which means he would have heard my last name and became worried over it. He knows that an Uzumaki can drain him of his chakra, but he doesn't know how. It could be through touch or just getting close, or any hundreds of other ways, like simply looking at him. Sooner or later, he would have ran into me in the village, and if I could have drained him of his power, then he would have been easier to deal with since he couldn't use his Sharingan. Since he would have no chakra, he could be captured or possibly sealed away like Kyuubi was. Kushina said, and he hasn't lived this long unnoticed by the rest of the world without being careful. Sarutobi said, the problem is the only witness we have as proof is Kyuubi, which nobody would most likely believe, and your guess is just that, a guess, Kushina. Kushina said, true, and until we get more proof, all we can do is try and prepare in case Kyuubi and me are right. Anyways, getting back to some more personal matters, you should realize 1010 this is going to affect you also. You're going to have to start training a little more on chakra control, because your reserves will be getting bigger due to the fact you have the Whirlpool seal on you, linking you to Naruto, Minato and Kyuubi. You will also become immune to all genjutsu, since one of the ways to dispel genjutsu is by having someone else send chakra into your body, which is happening constantly now. Same for you, son, but it also means your bloodline won't thin out for many generations, since you're basically getting a boost. 1010. 1010 winced, and several people looked at her, and Lee said, bloodline. You have a bloodline. 1010. 1010 frowned, and Kushina said, you hadn't told anyone, have you? As she saw the confused looks nearly everyone had. 1010 said, no, I didn't want to be treated like the other heiress that I have seen. I like to earn the respect I get. Not have it handed to me because of what clan I'm from or what bloodline I have. Dad was also worried that if the Sandai Mizuki heard my clan name, they would come and kill me, and begin taking a closer look at Naruto, also because of our clan's past. Naruto said, sorry, 1010. If I knew she would have been freed, I would have told her you wanted that to remain a secret. Niji turned and said, you knew. Why would she tell you, and not her own teammates? Naruto frowned and said, because it doesn't matter to me. She's 1010. That's who she is, and that's who I see. I don't care if you're the Hokage Firelord or even Kami. You don't get my respect unless you earn it. Right, Gigi? Sarutobi said sadly, yes. I still remember the day you told the Firelord, and I quote, to kiss your blonde ass. 1010 turned and screamed, what the hell did you do that for? Turning and glaring at Naruto, as everyone else looked shocked. Naruto said he tried to give me Tora as a pet. Everyone in the room shivered, and 1010 said, never mind, just don't do it again. As she crossed her arms. Niji said, so, what is your bloodline, Tenten-sama, and what is your clan name? 1010 frowned hearing the sama and said, my name is 1010 Ukami, heiress of the Ukami clan, and I have the forged bloodline. It allows me to learn to use any weapon. Sasuke said, not much of a bloodline. Anyone could learn to use a weapon. In a smug voice with a smirk. Kushina shook her head and said, that is where you are wrong, Uchiha. Everyone can learn to use most weapons, but there are some that can't be used, because their bodies aren't able to adapt to them. The Ukami clan are able to learn any weapon regardless of size, weight, strength, sharpness, or special ability. Their bodies will naturally adapt over time to allow them to use any weapon regardless of natural limiters that should be in the way. They can't instantly use every weapon, but they can adapt to use any weapon over time. There's a weapon at the Wolf Claw weapon shop that is made up of about 20 different weapons put together and is said to be impossible to use. 1010 over time would be able to learn to use it perfectly, even though it should be impossible to. It's why the Ukami clan was the bodyguards of the Uzumaki clan, and was the ones who kicked the Uchiha Senju and Hyuga clans out of Whirlpool for the safety of the other clans, because their bloodline made them the worst enemy any of those three clans could have faced, since they could pull out a weapon and use it in a way the Uchiha clan couldn't react fast enough to, could cut down any plants the Senju clan grew, and could keep the Hyuga too far away to be able to use their taijutsu. Hinata said, so you're Naruto-kun's bodyguard. In a stutter as she pushed her fingers together. Kushina started to say something when Naruto placed his bandage arm in her mouth, making her choke a little, and he said, she is my friend. That is all we are. Tenten sent a thankful look to Naruto, who stood up and started toward the door, and Sarutobi said, where are you going, Naruto? Naruto said, I've heard all I needed to hear. I have to try and put all my stuff back in my apartment that Anko took. Welcome back, Yondaime-sama. I'm sure the people will rejoice with you taking back over as Hokage. As he tried to open the door, and he frowned and turned, looked around the room. Minato said, I'm not taking back over as Hokage after the way the people disregarded my last request. I'm going to make it up to you for being a fuck-up as a father. Naruto, who had stopped in front of a bookshelf, said, yes, you are going to take back over. Gigi had to take back over and protect the people and take care of me. He has earned his retirement from paperwork more than anyone else has, and you are going to give it to him, but make him your advisor so you can find out what the hell has been happening while you were sealed away. Make Danzo your other advisor. As he looked at the books on the shelf. Sarutobi frowned and said, why would you suggest Danzo as the other advisor? Naruto snorts and said, I know I'm not as smart as some people, Gigi, but I know the real reason you won't have him executed for the shit he's pulled is because he's got all those Rudambu hidden in our village and in our ranks. I also know that he has political backing that makes it where if you killed him, then it could destroy Konoha. You may not have said it, but you implied it enough over the years for me to figure out. If the Baka here has you and him as an advisor, then Danzo won't be able to operate in the shadows like he is now, and it would remove the current elders who seem to me to be nothing more than puppets to Danzo. You could use the info I gave you about him to blackmail him into some stipulations to either seal off his chakra, making it where he only has the power of a figurehead, and you could also get Sasuke here to let you restart the police force and use Root as the police force. But mix some of our older or injured ninja who shouldn't be doing missions in with them, while also moving some of Root into your forces with squads that are loyal to you, making it where even though Danzo would be in charge of the police force, you would have men loyal to you in his operation to make sure he can't try anything funny. Use the clan heads if you have to, because if you gave them the info I gave you on him, then they would also be watching him carefully and having their clans spread word around town to keep an eye out for him doing anything suspicious. This way you can control him and also increase our village forces without having possible unknown enemy forces in our ranks as you do now. Everyone was shocked hearing Naruto words, and he said, "What? It's not my idea. One of my Kage Bunshin read it in a book at the library, and it sounded like a good strategy about keeping your friends close but your enemies closer. I just adapted the story to cover Konoha's situation instead of a business tycoon." Everyone seemed to calm down, and Minato said that could work. "What do you think, Sarutobi?" Sarutobi said indeed. It would limit Danzo movements because he would be in the view of the entire village instead of the shadows as he is now. Naruto said, and he can't let the info I gave you come out, or it could raise some serious questions about how he came by that, which wouldn't be good for him. Anyways, if you want a story to explain how you're back alive and get revenge, call a village meeting and tell them the Shinigami is pissed at Konoha and broke the deal and gave you and your wife back your lives, but also release the Kyuubi, who is free to go and get stronger to get revenge if he so chooses to, but he left the Kyuubi power in me as payment to relieve his guilt over the villagers' action. Yada yada ya. I'm sure you're probably good with your tongue at getting your point across, or mom wasn't very happy in the bedroom. Causing Kushina to blush and said son. As several others blushed. Naruto pulled a book out of the bookshelf with his teeth, and to everyone but the Hokages and Kushina's shock, a click was heard and Naruto pushed on the bookshelf with his foot that moved and said, "By the way, since nobody really knows you changed your last name to Uzumaki, go ahead and keep the Namake's name publicly, and mom can claim it as her own as well. I don't want people sucking up to me because I'm your son, and if mom uses Uzumaki, the Sandaime Mizukage might find out, and I don't want to see her get hurt. You might also want to put that early version of the anti-rape seal on her, but change it to change her look slightly so no one will connect her to me. I'm sure you can come up with a story to explain her origins. I'm still kicking your ass, Baka. They say you can kill an army with your Hiraishin, well, I can make an army with my Kage Bunshin. The one-man army versus the army of one, quantity versus quality. We will find out who will win. Now if you will excuse me, I don't want to be around when people start trying to kiss my ass to earn your respect, since I know somehow you will fuck up what I just said, and I'm not moving in with you and you're not moving in with me. I'm not a kid who needs his parents trying to make up for lost time. I'm old enough to kill, old enough to drink, old enough to fuck, and old enough to die. I pay my own bills and take care of myself, and if any of you start to treat me different like Niji now treating Tenten, who's hating him for it because she's still the same person she was before today and will be the same person after today, just like me. I'm still the same person I was, am, and will be. CYA. As he used his foot to kick the bookshelf back in place after walking in the room behind it. Kushina said, "You showed him where the Hokage bedroom is in your office." Tenten turned and said, "You mean there's a bedroom in this office, and you conceived Naruto on the desk instead of there?" Making several people wide-eyed. Kushina said, "Well, it was tradition. I mean, I already told you about all those notches under the Hokage pictures showed how many times they had sex in this office. Hell, most of the kids born from the Hokages have been on that desk." Kiba said, "Oh god, I'm going to be sick." Looking at the desk. Just then, a small explosion was heard and the Hokage desk was blown to wood chips, shocking everyone, and Tenten burst out laughing and said he did it. He actually did it. Naruto said he was going to blow it to hell. Sarutobi sweat dropped and said, "Thank God I get to retire now, and you got to worry about replacing all that paperwork, Minato." As he took off his hat and placed it on Minato's head. Minato had anime tears falling down his head and said, "Why me?" Sarutobi said, "You conceived the prank master from hell, and he will make you look like me within a year." Minato said, "Did you really have to make him an umbu?" Sarutobi winced as several shouts of umbu was heard and Minato's sweat dropped, and Kushina said, "And there's where Naruto gets his idiocy from. I swear sometimes, Minato, I don't know what the hell I ever saw in you." Minato said, "I thought it was the way I came into your life and blew away the dull lifestyle you lived before and excited it to the level of unexpectancy that rivals a tsunami." Tenten blushed and thought Naruto a hurricane, not a tsunami. And Kushina said, "Or it could have been the sex." Minato said, and there is where Naruto gets his being blunt, not taking shit off anyone from. As he sat down in the Hokage chair that fell backwards with him, tar fell out of the ceiling along with feathers before a flash was seen from somewhere in the room. Tenten said, okay, I know that was Naruto's doing, but how the hell did he pull that one off without any of us detecting it? Minato sighed and said, why me? A scroll fell on his face as the words left his mouth, and he blinked and opened the scroll and said, Sarutobi, I'm actually a little scared right now. As he held up the scroll. Sarutobi took the scroll and said, now, how in the world did he get his hands on his birth certificate when it's sealed in my private safe? Kushina shook her head and said, the sad thing is somehow he was able to time the release of the scroll and the tar and feathers breaking the chair with you in it all perfectly with him leaving the tower and not making any clones as he did it. His chakra signature is that strange, he's going into the woods by where your parents used to live. Tenten. Tenten frowned and said, are we dismissed? Minato said, I'm swearing all of you to secrecy about everything we saw and heard today with the real story how Kushina and I are alive. I'm going to use Naruto idea to explain the truth, because we don't want other villages to learn that Naruto is the source of all bloodlines, or they could try and capture him and turn him into breeding stock to make thousands of new bloodlines. In exchange, I will speak with your clan leaders and see about having Kushina or Naruto recharge your clan's bloodlines so that way they won't thin out as fast. Kushina said, I'll do it, Minato. Minato nods and said, you also can't tell about Naruto being an Umbu. Sasuke said, why is the Dobe an Umbu? Kakashi said, because I nominated him to be because he is probably the best seal master in the village and you have already seen his stealth and trap making skills. He somehow set this all up with 2 broke arms while we were watching him and none of us caught it or even figured out how he did it. Minato said, I hate to say it, Kakashi, but he is the best seal master in the village. I saw everything he saw and heard everything he heard. I know some of the ideas he has for seals, and some of them I would never have even dreamed possible, but he's actually creating them. He's skilled enough in seals, I could promote him to special jounin already as a specialist. He may have the fighting skills of a genin, but he has Kage level seal knowledge. Kiba said, so it's just his sealing knowledge. That's the reason he's an Umbu. Sarutobi said, yes. Seal masters are very rare to come across because of all the time and study they have to put into making and studying seals, so very few ever actually appear. In fact, the only ones I could count in the history of this village that could actually be considered seal masters were Jiraiya of the Sanin's, Minato here, and now Naruto. You should all learn a valuable lesson, never underestimate a seal master. Minato with a seal was able to put one on a kunai and become feared in nearly every country in the elemental nation. He was also able to stop Kyuubi from destroying our village when all anyone else was able to do was fight and die trying to slow it down. Shikamaru said, I have a question even though that troublesome girl has snuck out. Why are you listening to Naruto about what you should do? I mean, you didn't seem to want to be Hokage again, but Naruto basically told you that you were going to be Hokage and also who to make your advisors. Minato sighed and said, you're Shikamaru, right? Well, let me ask you something, who is Naruto Uzumaki? Shikamaru blinked and asked, what do you mean? Minato half chuckled and said, good answer. You don't know Naruto. In fact, none of you do. The first rule of shinobi is deception is vital for a ninja survival. What would you say is Naruto best skill, anyone? As he looked around. Kiba said seals. Minato said good guess, but no, his best skill is observation. You all think he doesn't notice things, that he is oblivious to it or too stupid to see what's in front of him. The truth is you're all the ones who hasn't seen what's really there. He notices everything going on around him because if he doesn't then he would not have survived as long as he has. Remember when he learned what a sensor type of ninja was, Sakura? What did he tell you? Sakura thought a moment and Sasuke, whose eyes widened, said he told us about how he detected when the people chasing him would disappear from behind him and appear ahead of him and he would change his directions to avoid them. Minato said, and what about the recent mission to build that fence, what happened there? Sakura said he seemed upset about who the client was, and he was being respectful, and he hit himself with a hammer. Minato looked at Kakashi and said, what did Naruto tell you about the hammer? Kakashi said that he thought he was in a genjutsu and that the client was Mizuki's fiancé and she threatened to kill him and thought the water might have been poisoned. Minato asked, and what did he really do? Kakashi think back to what he said and then his actions. Kakashi thought a moment and his eye widened and said, no way. Sakura asked, what, Kakashi-sensei? Kakashi said, remember where Naruto worked the rest of that mission. If he was afraid that the client was going to kill him, why did he make sure that he was working right beside her house where I was watching her to see if she tried to attack him from behind, since there was no way anyone else could sneak up on him? Sasuke said he made it where you would be focused on watching his back while he was watching the other directions. Even his Kage Bunshin were facing the other 3 directions, but why would he do that? Minato said someone was using a genjutsu in the area to hide something. He couldn't figure out who it was, but he could tell the direction it was coming from. He did dispel the genjutsu with pain like he said, but he never said he thought the client was responsible for the genjutsu, just that he thought he was in one. It was you, he detected Kurenai. Kurenai frowned and said, so he detected me, huh? Kakashi said, but I didn't see her, which is why he tried to hint to me that there was something there. Why were you using a genjutsu in the middle of the village? Looking at Kurenai, Kurenai said, I was seeing what effect me putting him on that caused without anyone supposed to know I was their sneaky brat. Minato said Naruto best skills is his observation skills, and he took the rules about deception to heart, so he keeps that skill hidden. He noticed Hinata spying on him over the years. Hinata eeped and stuttered he did. Minato said yes, though he believed that it was best to ignore it since the Hyuga guards who took you to school would report it and you would get in trouble like the first day you came to school with bruises on your arms after you talked to him. I think it was from you sparring with someone in your family, since I saw those kind of bruises before, but I couldn't speak with him, and for his age he thought that you must have gotten in trouble for speaking to him, so he acts ignorant to it in order to protect you. Hinata blushed and Minato said, but I have to ask something, Hinata, and of you Neji, have you? Hinata threatened to use the cage bird seal on Neji to get him to keep Tenten and Naruto away from getting closer to each other. Hinata said in a stutter, what? Minato frowned and said, I ask because right now Naruto suspects that Neji feelings for Tenten are not true, and that either he is being used by you, another member of the main branch, or he is using Tenten to get revenge for Naruto embracing him. He hopes Neji feelings are true for her, but he doubts it. I won't ask you Neji, and I don't expect you to answer either, Hinata, but I will say this. Don't use her like that or Naruto will destroy the Hyuga clan and no one will be able to stop him. Remember the Hyuga underwear incident? He was able to sneak into your clan compound and steal everyone's underwear and put them on telephone poles when he was 6. He's had 9 years to get better, and I don't doubt he could do it again, but this time he could put exploding tags or any other item in there that could kill you all. If you are being used, Neji, then just be yourself, but don't do anything that you can't take back, if you know what I mean. Tenten seems like a smart girl and will either figure out on her own what's going on so you won't get in trouble for saying anything or will lose interest in you, but if your feelings are true then treat her right because she's also my goddaughter, and if you have not done anything like what I suggested earlier, Hinata, then I am sorry for asking, but Naruto won't be with anyone he can't trust, and if he finds out you might have used his best friend then he won't ever trust you as well as your clan if they are using her. If you want to be with him, then try and be with him. Offer to help him with sparring or maybe about his social skills he needs for important figures. Do you really want him to come to your father someday to ask for your hand with his usual social skills? Offer to help him so he could be a better Hokage, and yes, I'm being a meddling father and godfather because I've got to make it up to them. Kushina said you got that out of your system good. Now to answer your question without the baka rambling. The reason he became Hokage again is Naruto knows that when the people find out that he's back alive they will want him back, thinking he's going to either finish off the Kyuubi or want him to replace Sarutobi, who has become more of a figurehead since he has lost most of his political power trying to protect Naruto all these years. If Minato refused they would think he's an enemy to the village and certain people in the village would try to neutralize him. Naruto knows this, which is why he told Minato the best way to stop those who would try to kill him while also regaining the power lost by Sarutobi and also gaining the villagers' faith, because even though this is a ninja village, we can't afford to piss off the villagers too much because they make our foods, weapons, cloths and other things of vital importance that are needed to keep our ninja going. Piss them off and they would destroy the ninja part of the village and turn this into a normal village. It's all politics. Sarutobi said very true, not to mention Naruto wants revenge on Minato, who feels guilty for failing, so he stuck Minato with being the leader of the people he chose to take care of over his own family, and Minato will do it in hopes of gaining some forgiveness from Naruto. Minato said, damn it, I know I screwed up, but I honestly thought the people would see him as a hero or that sensei would take care of him if they didn't. Where is Jiraiya? I never once saw him after the day of the sealing in Naruto life, and he's Naruto godfather. Sarutobi just looked at Minato, who sighed and said I see, as he closed his eyes. Across town in the woods near Tenten family home, Tenten was quickly moving through the trees when she came to a clearing where she saw Naruto on his knees in front of the house, and she jumped down and saw Naruto toss a few weeds on a small pile in front of him, and he said, "Your mom's garden is full of weeds. I thought I would pull them out for you and her." Not looking back, Tenten asked, "What are you doing here? I thought you were going back to your place." Naruto snorts and said, "I can't. My apartment's got seals on the doors and windows to keep people out unless they turn off the seals, and I can't with my arms like this, so until they heal I'm stuck living in the woods again." Tenten frowned and asked, "So why come here and start weeding?" Naruto was quite a few moments and said, "Do you know why I love doing missions or working with my teammates even though I can't stand their guts most of the time?" Tenten shook her head no, as she moved to sit beside him. Naruto saw this and said, "Because I don't have to think and worry about anything else. All I have to do is work on completing the mission to the best of my ability, complete the training we are doing. I don't have to worry about what the villagers think or what they do or any of the other things that I usually have to think about. A part of me thinks that's why I actually want to be Hokage, so that way I can focus on the duties of the Hokage and not have to worry about what everyone else thinks of me." As he pulled out more weeds, Tenten thought a moment and said, "It's the Gibbs effect." Naruto blinked and said, "What?" Tenten said, "Gibbs, he was this sailor back in Whirlpool Dad told me about. He worked around the docks doing odd things like making sure no trouble happened and finding out what happened to stuff that disappeared off the docks. Things like that. Don't know why he hardly ever sailed, but Dad told me he sailed in his younger years. Anyways, Gibbs, when he had things on his mind he didn't want to think about, would work on building a boat to keep himself busy. Of course Dad told me he never actually finished any boat either. He traded boats like he traded lovers, but anyways, what I was saying, Dad calls that the Gibbs effect. I actually suffer from it also, but I usually work in the forge at my family shop to work off the stress." Naruto said, "I see." As he pulled another weed out. Tenten saw this and said, "So since you needed something to focus on, and since Mom's garden is so out of shape, you decided to pull the weeds out so you didn't have to think about what happened today?" Naruto said, "Originally no, I came here because this is where it all started to change. This is the place I first became happy. It's where I became a ninja over there, where the ground is stained from Iruka-sensei blood, as well as the place that started the friendship I have with you. Things have changed so fast for me." And as he closed his eyes and looked down, Tenten asked, "And what?" Naruto sighed and said, I was happy with the way things were between us back before I found out I had Mom sealed in me. There was no worrying about marriages and evil Uchiha and being the Yandame's son and some other stuff." As he rubbed his shoulder where the Umbu tattoo was, Tenten said, "You mean Umbu, right?" Naruto eyes widened as he turned to look at her, and she said, "Your dad sort of mentioned it to everyone before you blew up the Hokage desk and tar and feathered him." Naruto looked confused and said, "The desk, I'll take credit for the tar and feathers, was actually Konohamaru who was pranking Gigi. I just made the seal for it and he set it all up in advance." Tenten eyes widened and asked, "Well, what about your birth certificate?" Naruto looked even more confused and said, "I've never seen it." Tenten said, "But the Sandame said it was in his ha 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 ha." As she laughed as she realized the truth and saw Naruto questioning look and said, "Konohamaru must have found your birth certificate in his grandfather's safe and used it to blame you for the prank in case the Sandame got angry." Naruto eyes widened and said, "Oh, he is so dead." As he pulled out another weed, Tenten sighed as she calmed down and said, "The doctor said your arms were going to be healed back to normal by tomorrow. He healed the damage already, but he didn't want you to overwork it too soon and break it before it healed completely, which is why it's bandaged up." Naruto nods and said, "Sorry." Tenten looked confused and said, "For what?" Naruto bit his lip and said, "You know why I am creating a new seal for the Hyuga, don't you?" Tenten frowned and said, "I think so. Do you have any proof?" Naruto said, "No, just Kakashi-sensei told me after I got all defensive when he was saying things about you. I didn't like that I can't walk on eggshells around you if I want to really be your friend, and that my enemies might use you against me if I'm not careful or something like that. I don't remember his exact words, but then I heard about how the Hyuga clan knew about Mom and possibly my bloodline. It made me think that with how sudden it was, Niji asked you out after all the time you were in the academy together and then on the same team. It just seemed Tenten set off. I know. I thought about it as well, wondering if he was only using it because he wanted to get revenge for you humiliating him that day, or wanted to make you jealous, or he was jealous." As she rubbed her arms together, Naruto saw this and said, "Anyways, I wanted to find out if he was being used, so I thought the best way was to remove the cage bird seal that I read about. Mom had told me once when I was talking to her about the seal because Dad was trying to create a new seal, and she told me this law that the Hyuga clan has no choice but to accept a new seal if it protects just as good if not better than the cage bird seal. I didn't mean to say anything, but then I slipped up accidentally when I had got Sasuke to agree to be the test subject for the seal to prove it worked, and Kurenai-sensei asked me why don't I give it to Hinata because she wants to unite her clan and get rid of that seal, and well, Tenten asked well what? Naruto said I've known about Hinata liking me, I've known a long time actually. As he pulled another weed. Tenten said you have, but why don't you go out with her? Naruto said her family the first day I met her we talked some and I thought she could be a friend, but the next day she came to the academy she had bruises all over her arms and seemed to shy away from me, so I decided if people were going to hurt her by being near me then I would just act like I don't have a clue around her so she doesn't get hurt. Tenten thought a moment and remembered several things. Flashback: the Hyuga clan knows this, which is why they try to keep the marriages inside the family where cousins or second cousins are often married to try and keep the strength of their bloodline up. A person is destined to a predetermined fate. It is not that you fight against fate but what fate has decided for you to do. Naruto blinked and looked at Neji and said, dude, how in the hell does a girl like Tenten like you with that 3-foot fate kunai shoved up your ass? Mizuki said 14 years ago the Kyuubi no Kitsune attacked Konoha. The Sandaime passed a law making it illegal to tell exactly what happened to the Kyuubi. The truth is the Yondaime sacrificed his life to seal the Kyuubi in a newborn baby. You are the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Naruto was frozen in place as he heard this, as he remembered all the whispers and glares, and Tenten lips pursed together and thought, bullshit, even if what you said is true about the Yondaime sealing the Kyuubi, then it is only sealed, not turning him into the Kyuubi. Mizuki said then I have no choice but to kill you first. I was going to wait until the end, but you leave me no choice. As he drew back to throw another windmill shuriken when Naruto appeared, kicking Mizuki in the face and said, don't you dare harm Iruka-sensei again or I'll kill you. Mizuki laughed and said, you kill me. You're not even fit to be a ninja. I can defeat you with one hand. Naruto gritted his teeth and said, bring it and I'll return what you give to me 100 times over. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. As the clearing was covered in Naruto. Everyone's eyes were wide at this, and Tenten thought, no way, there's over 100 of them, ouch, that's going to leave a mark. As she watched Naruto defeat Mizuki. Naruto smiled and said, just you wait, Iruka-sensei, I'll show everyone I'm me and not the Kyuubi, and someday I'll become Hokage and earn everyone respect. Tenten, who was hiding in some bushes, smiled and thought, I believe you will also, Naruto, if you can reach your dream then so can I. Minato said, I thought it was the way I came into your life and blew away the dull lifestyle you lived before and excited it to the level of unexpectancy that rivals a tsunami. Tenten blushed and thought, Naruto, a hurricane, not a tsunami. And Kushina said, or it could have been the sex. I got you, Tenchi, fate can kiss my blonde ass. Do you? As he looked into her eyes and saw the almond color, and Tenten tried a moment to get free and started to open her mouth to speak when her eyes went wide as she found herself being kissed by Naruto. She tried to get her hands free but were still being held down as she tried to move her head but found she couldn't because of her arms that had been holding the sword above her head. As she tried to get free, she moaned, trying to speak as Naruto continued to kiss her. She felt her body responding to the knee that was rubbing gently against the crotch of her shorts, and before long her mind was losing the battle to get free as her body betrayed her and she closed her eyes and slowly started to return the kiss. And as her body got more and more turned on, she didn't notice the hold on her hands was now gone and her hands had moved to Naruto hair, running her finger through it. Before she moved her hands to the bottom of his shirt and began to scratch at his back as her fingers traced the muscles of his shoulder. It's frustrating because you came into my life like a storm and you leave your mark on everything in my life. End flashback. Tenten closed her eyes and smiled and thought, he is a hurricane that blew into my life and he's touched everything in it. Mom, what should I do? The wind blew slightly through the forest, causing the leaves to move and a small ray of sunlight shine down on both Tenten and Naruto, moving from one to the other as Tenten saw Naruto covered in sunlight for a second, and Naruto glanced at Tenten because of her being quiet and he saw her in sunlight a second. Tenten bit her lip and said, you know, Naruto, if you want you can come here all the time to work on fixing up this place. I mean, it needs a lot of work and Mom's garden could really use someone to take care of it. Naruto looked around the place a moment and closed his eyes and said, it does need some work, but it's not my place to do that. This is your family home, Tenten, and if anyone should repair it and fix it, then it should be you and your family. Maybe you and Neji could come here and work on it to do something together. I shouldn't have come here. I should go. I would. Tenten interrupted him, said, I know this is my family and that is why I was asking if you wanted to work on this place. Of course I would help because I can't have my husband do all the work now, can I? And Naruto said of course not, but as his mind froze hearing actually what she said, and he turned to look at her and asked husband. Tenten said yeah. Naruto asked I don't understand. Tenten giggled at the clueless look on his face and said look, I'm not saying I actually want to marry you, but I'm not saying I actually don't want to marry you either. I'm just confused right now. We're still young and everything has been happening so fast lately. I mean, it's like the old saying, by working on 100 projects at the same time, you never finish one. Right now we are friends. Hell, we might even be best friends since it seems like nobody understands us but each other, but it's too soon for either of us to be thinking about marriage or families. I got things I want to prove and you got things you want to prove, but that doesn't mean that we can't spend our time together and go from there. I still like Niji, my feelings for him have dulled though, but I want to see if my feelings for him are a simple crush or more. And what about your feelings for that Sakura girl? I mean, did your crush on her go away? Naruto bit his lip and said truthfully, I don't know. Things have changed. I feel like spending time with you has opened my eyes, and I see that Sakura isn't who I thought she is. I just don't know what to do. Tenten said, which is why I think we should go slow. I'm not going to do anything with Niji that I'm going to regret if things don't work out, but I also want to take things slow with you as well and see where they go. Naruto asked, so you're going to date both Niji and me? Tenten said you're going to have to date the Kazekage daughter, also remember. If things between me and Niji don't work out and they do work out between you and me, we both need to see what it's like on the other foot in case you do have to marry her as well. You will see and feel what I will have to see and feel if things work out that way, but I won't go past a hug or kiss with Niji if even that, and if he starts treating me different now that he knows the truth, then we are so over. Naruto snorts and asked you planned this all along, didn't you? Tenten smirked and said ever since I found out about the other marriage I've been thinking about what to think and feel about it and how to make sure you don't ignore me for her or anyone else that either you pick or your parents set you up with. Naruto laughed and said God, I need that thanks. Tenten said no problem, so about the garden and the house what do you think? Naruto looked around the outside of the house and yard and said if you're serious about me coming here to work on it with you, then I guess we could, it would take a lot of time. Tenten said something we both have plenty of, but I got a question. Anko took everything from your apartment, right? Naruto said you saw the kitchen sink, remember? Tenten blushed and said oh yeah, well why don't we unseal your bed and set it up inside? I mean you could sleep here tonight until tomorrow when you could get back in your apartment. The water still works because I come out here so Dad had kept them on and it's better than sleeping on the ground in case it rains. At least it's an option. Naruto thought a moment and said alright, I'll take you up on that as long as you won't tell anyone I'm here. I need time to sort things out in my head. Tenten said it's no problem, so where is that scroll? Naruto smiled and said thanks as he told her where the scroll was, and after going through the scroll for a little while they were able to unseal his bed and Tenten giggled as she saw his nightcap. After unsealing his pots and Tenten got some firewood for the fireplace, she was able to cook some soup for them both to eat before she left. After she was gone, Naruto looked out the window and saw the evening star and thought thanks for the angel. Chapter 10. The next day the Sandaime Hokage looked out over the people who had gathered below and said, people of Konoha, I have come to you today to announce several things that both make me happy and very sad at the same time. For years now, I have done the best I can to lead you as a people by trying to do what's best for everyone, and while many mistakes have been made, I learned from them and ensured those mistakes never happened again if possible. But all good things must come to an end and I feel my strength is beginning to fade, so it is time for a change in leaderships. Murmurs began to grow in the people below, as many people were looking at the Sandaime in shock, while some were thinking what are you up to, Sarutobi? The Sandaime raised his hand to get the people to quiet down and he said now I am sure many of you are shocked to hear this, and some may think I am wrong to do this, but luckily for me and the people of this village a divine hand has given us a chance to redeem ourselves from past mistakes and has returned to us something that was once lost. I present to you my chosen successor, the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha, Minato Namikaze. As he stepped aside, shocking everyone as Minato stepped out onto the balcony of the Hokage Tower. Many shouts of shock and questions began to fly about, and Minato stood there for several seconds before he threw 4 kunais at the walls of several buildings while dropping one where he stood, and all fell silent as 5 yellow flashes appeared around them as he appeared, touching the buildings for a moment before disappearing again and reappearing somewhere else before he appeared back where he started. If any doubted who he was before, they were all silenced now as Minato said, people of Konoha. For those of you who don't know me, or only know me from history books or lessons, I am Minato Namikaze, Yondaime Hokage of Konoha, and the man who gave his life to stop the Kyuubi no Kitsune all those years ago. People began to murmur as words about him coming back to kill the demon and things like that were heard, and Minato unleashed a massive amount of ki, shocking everyone below, and he said silence. Once everyone froze, he stopped releasing the ki and said, now many of you are wondering how I am alive, and some of you are wondering if I am back to kill the Kyuubi, which thanks to the Sandame's law is confusing some of you. Now I will first explain exactly what happened the day I stopped the Kyuubi, and then I will explain how I have been given a second chance at life. Now the first thing you should know is that it is impossible to kill a Bijou. There have only been 4 ways to stop them. One is to control them with the Sharingan if it is powerful enough like Uchiha Madara was. Another is to suppress their chakra with the Mokuton bloodline like the Shodame Hokage did. What you should know is that both the Uchiha bloodline and the Senju bloodline were given to them by the 6th realm sage who was the father of twin sons who were the first Uchiha and Senju. But you see, there was one other sibling, a daughter of the 6th realm sage who was also given a bloodline to stop a Bijou by draining them of all their chakra they have in their body, reducing them back to this. As he turned behind him, and Kushina, who was wearing an umbu cloak, held a pet porter that Minato opened and grabbed the Kyuubi inside and pulled it out, shocking everyone below and scaring many as Kyuubi screamed, let me go, human, or I'll kill you all. Minato shoved Kyuubi back in its cage and Kushina walked back inside the Hokage office. Back outside, Minato said, now you see, the 3rd child of the 6th realm sage was in fact named Uzumaki, which the child Naruto Uzumaki is the last descendant of. Many people's eyes widened slightly at this as they began to think about the possibilities, and Minato continued, now, the 4th way to stop a Bijou is to seal it away at the cost of a person's life into a newborn child, because only a child could adapt to the power of a Bijou, and as the child grows up, the child would absorb the demon's chakra, and upon their deaths the demon would be released back into the world slightly weakened. That's right, people, for those of you who don't know, I sacrificed my life by summoning the Shinigami with a forbidden jutsu to seal the Kyuubi away into a newborn child, but not just any child. The one child I knew could safely drain the Kyuubi of its chakra and possibly actually kill a Bijou, Naruto Uzumaki. Several people began to look guilty or shocked, and Minato said, but then most of you had to go and fuck it up. Shocking everyone. Minato, after taking a few breaths to calm down, said, that's right, many of you have tried to kill Naruto or at least weaken him by refusing food cloths, breaking into his home, beatings and several other forms of abuse, which would only actually hurt him and help the Kyuubi to escape. Several of the younger people began to look at the adults who looked like a kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Minato said, oh yes, I saw everything that happened to him because the Shinigami sealed me inside of him as well so that when Naruto died, he could come take my soul along with the Kyuubi at the same time. But then you people had to piss off the Shinigami of all things. Fear began to appear on some of the people's faces, and Minato said, yes, that's right, you have pissed off the Shinigami by doubting its power to be able to power the seal that held the Kyuubi. The Shinigami decided to revoke the deal he made and has vowed never to help Konoha, so if we are attacked by another Bijou, even if the Hokage summoned him, the Shinigami won't come to aid us and will just take the user's life. Fear was really starting to appear on the people's faces, and Minato said, now since the Shinigami revoked the summoning contract I had with him, he released me from the seal, returning me back to life. He also released the Kyuubi, who as you all saw was weakened because Naruto Uzumaki had done his part of the deal and had successfully drained the Kyuubi of its chakra, but like everyone knows, the Kyuubi will regain his chakra over time like every other living being, and since he is immortal now, thanks to you people who went against my final wish to see Naruto as a hero for protecting this village and have pissed the Shinigami off, someday the Kyuubi will return to Konoha and attack and most likely destroy our village unless an Uzumaki is still alive to drain it, or if a Senju is alive to suppress it, or if an Uchiha is here to control it. Unfortunately, there is only one Uzumaki left alive and only a couple of Uchiha and one Senju who can't have children due to her age, so the way I see it, odds are, when the Kyuubi does regain his strength, because of all of you who doubted my skills at sealing and doubted my judgment and doubted Naruto's ability to protect you, you have most likely doomed your children and grandchildren to be killed by the Kyuubi when it regains its power. A shout of Uzumaki can just keep him drained. Minato said, why should he help protect and save a village that has gone out of its way to kill him for protecting it without ever being given a choice? Why should he help protect us? A shout was heard, because he's a ninja of the village and you can order him to. Minato said, oh, and why should I order my son to do that? At those words, nearly everyone below eyes went wide as they paled, and Minato said, yes, I said son. Naruto full name is Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, son of Minato Namikaze Uzumaki and Kushina Uzumaki. Since I was an orphan when I married, I took my wife's name due to the fact she was a clan heiress, but we kept our marriage a secret along with the fact she was with child because of fear of my enemies like Iwa who would have targeted my wife and son, but I guess I should have feared my own people. A lot of people flinched and looked down like a scolded child, and Minato said truthfully, I didn't want to take over as Hokage again after I saw the way you all treated my son. The only reason I did was because despite everything you people did to him, despite all the pain and suffering my son has faced, he looked at me and told me that despite everything he went through that I should, because I did what any good leader would do. I put the needs of the many above the needs of the few, and I couldn't have asked another family to do something that I myself wasn't willing to do. He told me that, despite the fact that he wants to fight me. A shout from the back said I was kicking your ass and breaking your jaw, you fucking baka. I said it once, and I'll say it again, as a leader you are one of if not the best there is, but as a father you are a fuck up. I told you not to tell the people I was your son or that the Shinigami brought mom back to life as well, but did you listen? No, damn blondes really are idiots, and if anyone says I'm a blonde I'll prank you. A lot of people paled at that. Minato cleared his throat and said, well, I guess you can see things between me and him are still a little rough. As he rubbed his head. Naruto said, rough my ass. Hey Kakashi-sensei, I have to ask, since you were the baka student, is the reason you're 3 hours late for everything and a pervert because of him? Kakashi began to sweat a little and said, I refuse to answer that on grounds that my life will become extremely uncomfortable. Naruto said, oh, which are you more afraid of, the baka or me? Kakashi said, well, Minato-sensei could send me on a suicide mission. Naruto said, and I could destroy your Ika Ika Paradise collection. Kakashi blinked and said, you could maybe destroy one book if I let you, but not my entire collection. Naruto got a smirk that a lot of people knew and were immediately scared, and said, you forget Kakashi-sensei Anko owes me. She offered to become my slave servant wife fuck buddy or anything else in exchange for me to destroy the curse seal Orochimaru placed on her, which I did destroy. Now I can call in that favor and ask her where you live and steal your entire collection from your house and have her and Kurenai-sensei help me burn them while my Kage Bunshin keep you away. So Kakashi paled as several people went wide-eyed hearing Naruto destroyed the curse seal, and Kakashi said, even if you found out where I live you would never be able to get in. Naruto said, Kakashi-sensei, I was able to paint the Hokage monument in broad daylight wearing orange without getting caught. Take the forbidden scroll from the Hokage office, knock out the Sandaime Hokage, learn a Jounin level Kenjutsu, defeat a Chunin as well as defeat last year's Rookie of the Year and this year's Rookie of the Year all in a 48-hour time period. Do you honestly think that I can't get past your security at your apartment? I broke into the Hyuga compound and stole their underwear when I was a kid without getting caught. What chance do you honestly have? Several people were looking at Naruto in awe, while some others in fear, like Kakashi, who was ghost white, and he said, Minato-sensei had me start editing Jiraiya-sama book when he started the Ika Ika series, which I still do. The book I have is the latest volume that hasn't even been published yet, and the reason I'm late is because I am paying tribute to my teammate who gave me my Sharingan. I answered your question, so please leave my collection alone since they're all the original unedited versions. Naruto said, fine for now. Minato sighed, seeing the interaction between Naruto and Kakashi, and said, anyways, I'm taking back over as Hokage to correct the mistake that you people have made by doubting my word and pissing off a god as best as I can. I'm going to have the Kyuubi placed in Training Ground 44, the Forest of Death, and if Naruto feels like it he can go in there and drain it of its chakra to buy the people of this village more time, but I will not order him. He has done far more than enough to weaken Kyuubi back to its weakest form for all of us, even if it is impossible to seal it away again or to kill it thanks to the doubters among you. Also, the Sandaime Hokage has agreed to become my advisor since there has been many things that have happened while I was dead that I am not aware of, so Koharu and Hamura will have the choice of either returning to duty or retiring, but they are no longer on the council. I would like the clan heads as well as Danzo to come to my office in a few minutes to help me elect the second elder. Naruto has asked me not to get revenge for what the people of this village did to him, because even though he didn't find out why he was treated the way he was until Mizuki tried to kill him the day he graduated, he can understand the pain and suffering you all felt over losing family and friends, things he's been denied his whole life, causing the people to flinch. Minato said, anyways, as a way to try and start forming a bond with my son for using him when he was only a day old. That's right, his birthday is October 9th, and like my son stated, my wife was also given back her life as a way the Shinigami tried to make amends for all the suffering Naruto faced, but it is doubtful we will ever have another child, or if we can, or if we ever chose to, because I'm in the doghouse with her as well since she had passed away during childbirth and didn't know Kyuubi attacked Konoha, so might want to watch out for her as well. So anyways, I will try and lead you to the best of my ability. Please try not to make me regret it, since I know how some of you can't seem to follow even a dying man's final request for his family. Good day. As he turned and walked back inside, Naruto jumped up on a roof and was about to leave when the Yondaime voice was heard across the town. Squared would Hydra come to my office in 10 minutes along with a Biki. Thank you. Naruto jerked his head and mouthed fuck as he went to his apartment and grabbed his uniform before leaving and entering the woods. He quickly put it on and headed toward the tower. When he got to the Hokage office he noticed all the clan heads were there along with Ibiki Sarutobi Kushina who was wearing a kitsune mask and Danzo. Minato said, "Aw, so glad you could join us, Hydra. If you would please activate the security seals for the room, Sarutobi, so nobody can spy on us." Sarutobi nods and the room glowed a few moments before returning to normal, and Minato said now the seals that were activated made it where nobody can shushin in or out use chakra in this room outside of the Hokage, silence the room from being spied on as well, making it where nobody can leave while they are activated, so the first order of business is why I have called you all here. Danzo, you have two choices: one, you can agree to the terms of the parole I am going to give you, or I will have Hydra and Kitsune kill you right now for being a traitor to Konoha. At this everyone's eyes widen, and Danzo said, "What nonsense is this? I am no traitor." Minato said, "Then care to explain the 4 Sharingan eyes you have in your body, as well as the Mokuton bloodline in that arm?" Danzo frowned as he saw everyone looking at him and after a few seconds said, "Cleaver. The new security seals were to show me that I have no choice since I can't escape nor fight my way out if I tried to. It appears that death did not weaken your skills, but tell me, how did you discover about my little gifts?" Minato said, "Hydra here has the unique ability to be able to detect any bloodline by a person chakra. He may not know which bloodline it is unless he has encountered it before, but he was able to detect your different chakras just seeing you once, and was able to compare the feel of the Sharingan in your body with the one Kakashi has, as well as Sasuke Uchiha eyes, and was also able to detect the Mokuton bloodline, which he knew of from the victims of Orochimaru experiments." Danzo glanced at Hydra and said, "I see, I was not aware of this Anbu or his abilities." Minato said, "No one besides Sarutobi and myself did. Now you see, Danzo, if I kill you now then I have to worry about your root as well as any other political or private favors you could call in to aid you or avenge you, so I have decided that I have 2 options: deal with those or restrict your power by making you my other advisor." At this everyone's eyes widen again, and Hayashi said, "Why would you even think of doing that, Hokage-sama?" Minato said, "Simple, by having Danzo become my advisor he can't work in the shadows any longer. I can have his root brought into the light, and either have some of them moved into teams where I can have trusted men watch them, as well as have some of them start the village police force and mix in some of our less healthy shinobi who are not able to carry out their duties of their rank to also become members of the police so they could watch root as well to limit their movements." Shikaku said, "I see, and by doing this in front of us, we now know Danzo's stolen bloodlines and the clans would watch him as well to also decrease his ability to operate out of your control." Brilliant, Minato. Minato said, "I wish I could take the credit, but Naruto was actually the one who came up with it. Now Danzo, your choice: either you can continue to serve Konoha severely restricted or you can be killed, and I informed the village that you were privately funding Orochimaru experiments on citizens of Konoha, as well as being involved in the Uchiha massacre, and order Inoichi to go through your memories for all the people en route and you forget I know about that seal you have on your tongue, Danzo, and I can break it." Danzo frowned as he said, "So I have to do exactly what?" Minato said, "You will have your chakra sealed away, so your shinobi career is now over. The Sharingans will also be taken and the Mokuton bloodline will be sealed away. I want a complete list of all root agents, and Ibiki will do an investigation, and if any root member is found not on the list they will be immediately captured, interrogated and killed. Ibiki will also do an interrogation of all root members who will have the seal on them removed by Hydra here or myself so they can answer his questions without dying. You will have a seal placed on you where you will never be able to leave this village, and a modified seal similar to the cagebird seal that can be activated to either immobilize or kill you, and there will be no less than 15 people in the village at a time who will be able to activate the seal, and all 15 will be selected by me." Danzo said, "So you are turning me into a puppet slave? Then I think I rather take death." Minato said, "Unfortunately for you, that isn't going to be an option, Danzo. I'm not as forgiving as Sarutobi for the crimes you have committed. Ibiki, you have your orders." Ibiki nods and bit his thumb as he opened a scroll, and Danzo jumped back and said, "What are you doing?" Minato laughed and said, "Look down, Danzo." Danzo didn't even have time to react as the floor below him began to glow as a seal appeared where he was and began to crawl up his body. Danzo screamed in pain for several moments before he became silent. Inoichi asked what just happened. As he looked at Danzo, Hydra said, "Cleaver, Hokage-sama. I recognize the subjection seal as well as the chakra draining and the restriction seals, but what was the rest?" Minato said, "For those of you who are not seal masters, I'll explain what happened. I knew Danzo would not take the offer to be elder, so I instructed Ibiki to act like he was going to activate a seal on that scroll when it was in fact blank, but he was ordered to stand behind Danzo so Danzo would jump away from where Ibiki was directly onto the seal on the floor, which I activated. The seal basically turned Danzo into a living puppet. This seal was actually created by Akasuna no Sasori during the last war, and I modified it to suppress his chakra and the bloodlines he's stolen. Danzo will now do what he is ordered to do by Sarutobi, myself, or Ibiki. To everyone else he will act normal, but he will follow out my orders so I can have him merge root into our forces and start the police force like I said, while he will give Ibiki a complete list of his operatives as well as begin to tell him all the illegal things that he has done behind our backs. He won't realize he is now a puppet, but he is not my other advisor either. After talking with Sarutobi, I have decided you Shikaku will become my other advisor if you will accept, and you will also be given access to control Danzo until such a time as he is not needed, at which time we will make it appear he had a heart attack. It was the best case scenario since Danzo is just too dangerous and too well connected to kill as well as to let have freedom. Does anyone disagree with what I have done? No one said anything, and Minato asked, do you agree to be my advisor, Shikaku? Shikaku said, I agree, Hokage-sama. Minato said, good, now I have something else to tell you that your heirs already know, as he began to explain the birth of bloodlines as well as the truth about the Kyuubi and how he and Kushina was alive as well as what Kyuubi told them, and he said, so as you can see we have to keep this information classified. Kushina has agreed to boost your children's bloodlines like her clan did in Whirlpool Country if you so chose to want it boosted, but only your children. Hayashi, I also should inform you that Naruto knows about the law the Fire Lord made the Hyuga clan agree to before you were allowed to join the one you told me about, and he is in the process of creating a new seal for your clan. Hayashi said, I see, thank you, and please inform your son of my thanks. Minato said, I think you already did, Hayashi. As he shot a look at Hydra, which everyone saw. Hayashi said, so you are playing shadow and light by having Naruto appear to be angry with you while he is actually an Umbu serving under you. Hydra said, no, I am angry at him and will kick his ass and break his jaw like I said. I was made Umbu before he and mother was released due to my sealing knowledge as well as my ability to find holes in village security and my stealth skills. Inoichi said, a specialist. As he looked at the Sandaime, who nods. Inoichi said, I see, I'll probably see you some then, Hydra, because I work in the TNI department along with Anko. Did you really destroy Orochimaru curse seal? Hydra said yes. Inoichi whistled and said, that's good. Maybe Anko can find some peace now. So what now, Hokage-sama? Minato said, everything that has been said here is classified along with Naruto being an Umbu. What about the possible spy Naruto found Sarutobi? Sarutobi sighed and said, Kabuto and his team went on a mission when I put them under surveillance and have not returned yet. They still have 3 days before they are due to return, but since I have not heard anything from the team who was supposed to shadow them, things don't look good. Minato nods and said, I see. Well, as I was saying, all this is classified, and since we got Danzo and my advisors taken care of, I guess you can return to your own duties. There will be a council meeting tomorrow where we will announce the decision, and you all should know the reason I chose Shikaku is because Sarutobi and I both agree he is one of the best strategists in the history of this village, and since he will be responsible for getting the police force up as well as working with Ibiki to fix village security. Hydra, you will go with Ibiki, who will show you around Umbu headquarters, and then you will write a report to Ibiki about all the security flaws you already know of, while Ibiki will prepare to get info from Danzo. Once you have that info, we can better start making Konoha stronger and better protected. Any questions? Hydra said, yes, Umbu identities are supposed to be classified. Why have you told so many people about my identity? Minato said, because these people need to know if I ever send you to them for some reason. Now any others questions? Good, you're all dismissed. Ibiki said Danzo Hydra this way. As he left out of the room. After everyone left but Minato and Kushina took off her mask and said, I think it's time to add another notch to the picture. With a smirk that was shared by Minato. Chapter 11. After meeting Ibiki, who showed him the underground training grounds, the weapon room and the library, which Hydra instantly created 4 Kage Bunshin to begin looking through, much to the amusement of Ibiki, he then had Hydra list all the weak spots in the village that he was aware of so far and how he would bypass them to get into the areas that should be guarded as well as what the security in the area was failing at. After 6 hours of this, Ibiki looked at Naruto, who was still filling out reports, and thought if this kid wasn't an ally, he would be our deadliest enemy. After finishing up with security, Ibiki called for a couple of Umbu, and when they arrived, Ibiki said, Nico Dragon. I called you both here to inform you that I am putting you both with a team along with Hibi, who is currently in the hospital, and Hydra here. Now your team is a specialist team. Dragon asked, what will our specialty be, Ibiki-sama? Ibiki said your specialty will fall into 3 categories: village defense, spies, and demons. At this Nico said, "Pardon me sir, but would you go more into our specialty to clear up the confusion I am having with some parts of it?" Ibiki said, "Very well, but first, since we are in my office and the security seals are up, go ahead and remove your mask and introduce yourself." Since Hebe isn't here, I can inform you, if you were not already aware of this, that Anko is Hebe. As the three took off their mask, two sets of eyes widened and Ibiki said, "Naruto Uzumaki, meet Yugugo Yuzuki, and Tenzo Yamato." Yugugo said, "Since when has he been Umbu?" Naruto said, "I was made an Umbu by the Sandaime Hokage, and was nominated for the position by my Genin squad leader Hitaki Kakashi due to my ability with seals that has surpassed even the Yondaime Hokage, as well as other things that I am sure Ibiki-sama will go into detail, since I can see how most of our specialty will evolve around either Tenzo with his Mokuton bloodline, Anko with her interrogation experience, or myself due to the fact I've spent the last 6 hours going over security problems in the village I have encountered over the years with him, as well as you heard earlier, my bloodline that will allow me to drain a demon or bijou of their chakra." Ibiki said, "Very good Uzumaki," as he stated he has in fact given me an entire list of security flaws, and I would like you both to look at them. As he handed a folder to them, and as they both began to read, their eyes got wide, and Tenzo said, "I'm impressed with your detection skills at finding all these, as well as the way you thought of to bypass them." As he skimmed it, Yugugo said, "No wonder you were able to pull the mountain prank off, I'm glad you're on our side." As she skimmed it also, Ibiki said, "Now what you see here is part of what your duties are going to be. The Sandaime original orders for Hydra here was for him to find weak spots, and then exploit them to not only increase our village security but to also get our Umbu who are getting too complacent in their duties to get their butts back into shape. Your squad will be assigned to find these weak spots like those in your hand, and after getting them I will give you an assignment you will carry out to exploit those targets. That is what your specialty of defending the village falls under." Now Hydra bloodline has a side effect that allows him to detect other people's chakra, making him a sensor. Though he is only beginning to exploit these abilities, he has already found one confirmed traitor who is in possession of several stolen bloodlines, but also has been able to detect Orochimaru curse seals on another possible traitor and 2 others as well who has been hiding in plain sight for some time. Once he informed the Hokage of detecting it, the Sandaime put this traitor team under Umbu surveillance, as the team was already set to go on a mission outside of town before they were discovered, and the Umbu team sent one message back and has not been heard from since. In 3 days' time, the team of possible traitors will be marked as such if they do not return by then or we hear from the Umbu by then. Also, Hydra witnessed an S-rank missing nin of Suna named Akasuna no Sasori in our village. Yugugo asked, "What are you sure?" Ibiki said, "Yes, we confirmed it, as Hydra was able to identify something on Sasori that he could not have known the importance of, and only someone who has met him would even have known about it. Hydra has never left the village, so the only way he could have seen it was if Sasori was in the village." Tenzo frowned and said, "It appears that you're going to be a very valuable asset to our village, Hydra." Naruto said, "I'll try to be, because I wish to prove myself and prove I mean nothing more, nothing less." Ibiki said, "Now your squad leader will be Tenzo with Anko as second in command. Naruto will still be on his Genin squad because the Sandaime wanted to try and pull a double deception by making it appear we have a skilled seal master in Umbu as well as an up-and-coming one in our regular ranks. The Yondaime has agreed with this decision, so now any spies in our village will believe Konoha has 4 seal masters counting Jiraiya." Yugugo asked, "What about the rest of our duties, sir?" Ibiki said, "The rest of your duties will be looking for anyone who seems suspicious. You will inform me of this person, and if I believe they war-rent it, you will capture the person and bring them here for questioning. The last of your duties lies in 2 folds. The first is if anything possibly related to a Bijou Jinchuriki or demon appears, you squad will be first to respond to it. The second part of your duties will be Orochimaru." Tenzo said, "Orochimaru." Ibiki said, "Yes, Hydra, please explain what you have discovered the true objective of the curse seal is." Naruto nods and began to explain it, and by the time he was done both Tenzo and Yugugo were shocked, and Ibiki said, "Now you understand that we can't have Orochimaru to continue to switch bodies and gaining more power and power as well as bloodlines, or he will become too powerful for us to ever stop. With this information your squad will work on ways to counter his immortality jutsu as well as follow up any leads that we get about him. What I want from you is to begin training to take him out. Hydra, while you are a powerhouse of chakra, your actual skills and experience are low. You will have to work the hardest to get to the rest of your team's experience. Hebe is a trap capture and poison expert, Dragon is a ninjutsu and taijutsu specialist, and Nico is a kenjutsu genjutsu specialist. Ask them for help getting to their levels as quickly as possible. I'll send word to Kakashi as well, who has informed me you know about his Umbu status as well, and have him work with you to get your ninjutsu up even more and to help solidify your skills. Do you understand? Naruto smirked and said by the time the Chunin exams gets here, I'll be at their level. Ibiki said big words, but can you back it up? Naruto said I don't take back my word. That's my Nindo. Ibiki said good dragon, they are all yours. Hebe should be released from the hospital tomorrow knowing her. Dragon nods and said alright both of you. I haven't ever worked with you before Hydra and it has been some time for you Nico, so we will go to the training ground and spar to see what you both can do. Let's go. As him and Nico, who had put on their mask, disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Naruto said I have got to learn that. As he put on his mask and took off running. Ibiki laughed and said now it's time to play with Danzo mine some more. As an evil smirk appeared on his face as he left his office and walked into another room where Danzo had been writing for several hours now once he had came back to Umbu headquarters with Naruto and Ibiki. The next day Naruto arrived at Training Ground 7 and Sakura said hello Naruto. Naruto yawned and waved and Sasuke said you're actually tired. Naruto said yeah, didn't get to sleep until 4 a.m. this morning. Sakura asked Umbu. Naruto frowned and said Sakura Sasuke, I know the Baka let that info slip, but don't use it if we have to talk about it, let's use studing history as a code word for it, alright. I don't want to see either of you get in trouble for the Baka mistakes, and yes, studing was hard yesterday and last night. Sasuke smirked and said learn anything new. Naruto said yeah, never piss off a cat, they have sharp claws that hurt. As he raised his shirt and showed that his stomach and sides were taped up in medical bandages. Kakashi who arrived said especially female ones huh? Naruto said yeah, but you should have seen the tree get scratched up. With a smirk. Kakashi said since the Hokage told you I will give you a little info about his team so you don't have to ask questions later. I was in Umbu as a captain and my mask was Inu. Naruto teammates are Hebe Nico and Dragon who has a bloodline similar to the Shodame Hokage. That is all I can tell you, and for now, I like your idea of redirecting for the code word, but just use training and studing not history since you won't get hurt like that studing history but you would training. Now Hokage-sama wants to see us for a mission. Let's go. As he turned and began to walk away, and Naruto walked over and placed his hands on both Sasuke and Sakura's shoulder and shushined them to the Hokage door shocking both and Naruto yawned and said told you I studied and trained hard last night. Both nod as Kakashi appeared in a shushin behind them and said damn, I wanted some more reading time. Naruto said, and I want to avoid the villagers. I got a fan club now. Sakura asked really who? Naruto said Ami and half the girls from our class. I told them that Sasuke was still their best bet because he's rich and I'm flat-ass broke. That got rid of some of them. With a smirk as he opened the door and ducked under a punch from Sasuke. Minato who looked up when the door opened said it appears that Team 7 will always have teammates trying to kill each other, huh Kakashi? Kakashi said it appears so Minato-sensei. Team 7 here to request a mission. Minato said, ah yes, I have several here for you, are there any request you would like as a team? As he looked at Naruto, which both Sasuke and Sakura notice. Naruto noticed as well and said no Hokage-sama, after all we haven't earned the right to receive special treatment of choosing our missions. Minato sighed as Kushina came in carrying some paperwork from the side office and Naruto raised an eyebrow and said why do I feel your desk is about to be trash from too much moving? Kushina blushed and said hey, it's back in its original spot, son. Sasuke Sakura blushed while Naruto made a face and said can we get our mission? I'm suddenly feeling sick. Minato said yes, you have a mission of meeting Hiko Daika at the building department to help him in renovating and repairing a couple of houses on the east side of the village that have fallen out of code from not being lived in. This mission will take you the next 3 weeks. You're dismissed. And so over the next 3 weeks, the village was nailed with over 70 different surprise attacks by Team Serpent. As a result, 144 Umbu were forced to do D-rank missions while wearing a sign on the front and back of their uniforms with a picture of a bullseye on the front and back, which the Konohamaru squad aka the Con squad took turns nailing with water balloons filled with anything from water paint to mud. The signs also made it where the Umbu couldn't use chakra while wearing them, so they got hit more times than you would expect. Of course, some of the Umbu later chased after the Con squad for revenge. Outside of Team Serpent, Naruto had been doing 1 to 2 missions with his team as well as training with cross-training with the other Genins. Kiba said what why not? I mean you must have access to really powerful and cool jutsu. Why can't you show us or get us some of them? Naruto sighed and said, Kiba, do you know how much I am having to work to hide my status? I'm having to create two separate fighting styles that are different from each other to keep my cover. Take this for example. As he pulled out a scroll and unsealed a kunai and threw it, and when it hit the ground a Kage Bunshin appeared. Kiba said, so what, we saw you do that already. Naruto said, think so. Punch him. As he crossed his arms. Kiba punched the clone who had picked up the kunai, and when it hit the ground two Naruto appeared in a puff of smoke and one of them picked up the kunai and Naruto said, punch the one with the kunai again, Kiba. Kiba frowned, and then there was three and one picked up the kunai again and Kiba punched it and said, wait, you mean every time that kunai hits the ground it makes a Kage Bunshin? Naruto said, nope, those aren't Kage Bunshin. Asuma said, then if they are not Kage Bunshins, what are they? Naruto said, I met a guy who could drain an enemy of their chakra by touching them. It took me over 300 hours of trial and error with my Kage Bunshin to create this. I call them drain clones. Like a Kage Bunshin, the knowledge when dispelled is transferred back to the original and the other clones, but a little known fact about Kage Bunshin is any unused chakra is transferred back to the original and the clones as well, and so every time that seal on the kunai gets chakra it creates a clone. But every time you touch one of the drain clones it absorbs your chakra, so while they can only take one hit like a hydra, the more times you cut off its head the more that will appear until you're facing an army or defeated. Kakashi said, or you use a wide area jutsu to take them all out. Naruto said, that's the fun thing about this, though I took that in accounts also. Remember the Hobunshin jutsu I made? Well, if you use a wide area jutsu instead of making Kage Bunshin, which of no element, the clones that will be made will be elemental clones of whatever type of chakra was used to take them out. The only way to beat this is use the elemental counter, like use fire against wind clones, water against fire clones, lightning against water clones, and wind against lightning clones, or weapons that don't have chakra reinforcement. Sasuke asked, what about earth? Naruto said, I couldn't really come up with a counter for earth, so if someone uses earth chakra against the clones, then the clones will just become suicide clones who will charge at the enemy and explode. Sakura said, is that for you or for Naruto? Said, that's for the other. Basically, I'm going to just try to use the Legend of the Hydra for my entire fighting style for him. Kill one and two pop up in its place. Asuma said, not that bad of a strategy, but wouldn't people realize he's you by the amount of chakra you're using? Naruto said, no, I got my Seal Master certification publicly known now, so after the Hokage had a couple of medics test the medical battery seal and approve of it, I was able to get another seal called a battery seal acknowledge also for ninjutsu users. Now that the fact a battery seal publicly exists now will draw attention away, making others think he's got one of those battery seals. Especially with 1010 shops starting to sell the dress sphere seal and the anti-rape seal. Sakura said, wait, you finished it? Kurenai said, yeep, finished and tested already. A group of bandits was cut to pieces by one of our civilian Cortesian spies last week. Sakura turned and said, and you didn't tell me. Naruto yawned and said, Sakura, look at my eyes, I've got bags under my bags. Between my duties on Team 7, my duties there training with my mother, my team's group training with 1010 and avoiding my fangirls and villagers, even I'm getting tired. Kiba said, what are you doing avoiding? You scared of them like Sasuke? Naruto said, no Kiba, the only reason I have a fan club is because of the fact I'm the Yandame's son. They don't care that most of my life they hated me or made my life hell, they just see the fame of being with someone who's the Yandame's son. They don't care about me as a person. For that reason, I want nothing to do with them. I told my team already when I found out I'm engaged to the Yandame Kazekage daughter, I'd rather be married to a poor peasant woman than a rich powerful princess. If it meant I come home to love, then come home to a woman who doesn't love me. Money and power are things I can get with my own hands. I don't need to be born to it or have it handed to me. I've done 143 D-rank missions since I've been a genin. I've paid my rent, buy my own food, cloths, and supplies all on my own. Kiba said, but why? I mean, you could live with your parents and have more money to have fun, and why do so many D-rank missions? Naruto shook his head and said, you could never understand, Kiba, none of you could understand. Sensei, I'm not feeling well. Mind if I call it early today? Kakashi said, sure. Go get some rest. Naruto bowed slightly to Kakashi, shocking everyone there, and he began to walk away. Tenten bit her lip and said, you're not heading to your house. Naruto said, I've rigged a deadman seal to the seals on my door after the baka and mom got in the last time. If I try and deactivate the seals to my place to get in before my normal hours off, then the seals will send me to the Umbu holding cell in the Forest of Death. For that might not be a bad idea now that I think about it. No, never mind, Anko will try raping me again. I'll just stay in the woods. As he moved into the woods away from town, Tenten said, but what about the cabin? Naruto said that's the second place they come look for me at now. I had to steal the Hokage crystal ball just to be able to hide from one of them. Mom and Irika can find me no matter where I hide. CYA. As he shoo-shined away, Kiba frowned and said I don't get him. Kurenai said well, I think we should all just As she saw an Umbu arrive. The Umbu said good, you're all here. The Hokage needs all 4 of your teams for a mission. Kakashi asked what kind of mission, Bor? The Umbu said B rank possible. Oh, where is your other student Kakashi? Kakashi said he occupied at the moment. Why? The Umbu said I was told to make sure he came. A tired voice said I'm here. Shocking everyone as Naruto crawled out of a hole near a tree on the edge of the clearing. Ino screamed, what are you doing hiding in a tree? Naruto said there's a cave underneath that tree I found when I was 6. I've hid in there a couple times on my birthday. Let's go see what the Baka wants. As he put his hands in his pocket and began to walk away. Some of the others frowned as they began to follow him while thinking of why he had to hide in a tree. Chapter 12. When the Konoha 12 made it to the Hokage office, the yondaime who was filling out paperwork said be with you in a minute. As he finished filling something out and said, and there, oh good news Naruto, I just got a letter from the Kazekage who has agreed to a meeting between him and his daughter Yumi and your other fiancé. Naruto quickly said no names for her privacy. I am not telling anyone who my other fiancé is since we want to wait to get to know each other better. Ino said, and when are you going to have time to get to know her better with all the work you're doing? Naruto said when she gets back in the village. She's out on business. Sakura said wait, you mean it's not Tenten? Damn, I was sure it was her. Naruto shrugged and said I said it before Tenten my friend. Tenten said besides I'm dating Neji right now though if he doesn't drop the Sama crap I'm going to castrate him. As she glared at Neji. Neji said if it is my fate who am I to argue against fate. Naruto said Kami give me strength to finish that seal so he will shut up about fate anyways. What did you want Hokage-sama? The yondaime sighed and said alright here's the situation, a client came in here requesting a C-rank bodyguard mission in Wave Country. The client's name is Tazuna, and he's building a bridge. Umbu caught a pair of C-rank missing nin from Mizu about 5 miles away from Konoha. They are with Ibiki right now, but they had a picture of Tazuna on them and they claim they were ordered to kill him. That instantly raises the rank from a C rank to a B rank at least, but the thing is we recently got information that there is a lot of illegal things going down in Wave Country. Apparently there is a slave market running out of wave weapons, drugs, money. It appears to be a big operation, and I believe that this bridge is a direct threat to the illegal operation going on there, which is why Tazuna was being targeted, but that is not all. The 2 missing nins claim the person they work for is called the demon. We don't know who it is, but with the possibility it could be a Jinchuriki or a few others. We need to investigate and find out who this demon is. Also Naruto discovered 3 possible spies in Konoha, but before they could be arrested they were sent on a mission in the area of Wave. An Umbu team that was sent to follow them has disappeared also. I am sending your 4 teams along with Umbu Team Serpent, with Kitsune replacing Hydra. Your mission is to protect the bridge builder, find out information about the missing Umbu, as well as the possible spies, find out what you can about the weapons and drugs being sent through Wave, and find out what you can about the slave ring and deal with them. Naruto frowned as he said what is the condition of the civilians in Wave? Sakura asked what do you mean? Naruto said, well it's not advertised. Konoha has a red light district. During the day you don't really notice anything, but late in the evening or at night the area changes. Umbu keep things quiet, but prostitutes, drugs and other things along those lines are common there. It's basically a don't ask don't tell thing, but the people who live there either don't come out at night or have had to change their lifestyles because they simply can't afford to go anywhere else. If Wave has the things that Hokage-sama has told us about, I bet the civilian lifestyle there has changed also to deal with it. Hibi said I would have to agree with the Gaki. If there is as much going on there as you say, then the civilians are having to deal with it. That could explain where the slave ring comes in at. People who got caught at the wrong place at the wrong time or saw something they shouldn't have. Minato said I agree also, but all we got is the words of a man I believe are only half-truths already. Naruto said, but the question is why us? I can understand the Umbu. I can also understand the Jounins, but we are 12 Genins, 9 of us fresh out of the academy. I know the difference of fighting someone not holding back between a Genin and a Chunin or Jounin level. You claim you have a pair of C rank, meaning most likely Chunin missing Nin, and they are under someone's orders, meaning either a really strong Chunin or a Jounin, and if he's a Jinchuriki, I've read about others how they are trained from an early age to be their village secret weapon. It makes me thankful for Gigi even more. If the person is a Jinchuriki, then you're not only putting us in danger from the threat of them and Their Bijou, you're putting us in danger with whatever village they escaped from. Because I can bet the other village will have hunters or capture teams searching for the guy, and they won't take kindly to us possibly capturing or destroying Their weapon, and then the problem with actually killing him or her. If Their seal isn't strong enough, you're talking about releasing a demon when we kill him or her if it comes to that. I'm not trained enough in Uzumaki Jutsu yet to make much of a difference against a demon yet, and you know this, which is why for not only my sake but the sake of the other Genin here, I have to ask why us. Minato sighed and looked at Naruto for several minutes and said, what I am about to tell you is a secret that only the clan heads and a few trusted others know. Thanks to the other spy you helped us catch, we got information that Konoha is going to be attacked during the finals of the Chunin exams by Orochimaru, causing everyone in the room's eyes to widen. Hebe screamed, what? Why wasn't I told? Minato said, because you're bait to help lure him into a trap. Naruto publicly announced he destroyed the curse seal will catch Orochimaru attention. Yours isn't as advanced as others he has now, so he's going to need to capture you and study you to see if Naruto sealing is a threat to his newer curse seals, and if so, he's going to try and eliminate Naruto. We have reason to believe the slaves and the weapons going through Wave are being purchased by Orochimaru for his experiments as well as to prepare for his attack on the village. With the threat of the village getting ready to be attacked, I have no choice but to get our forces prepared and set up traps for enemy ninja and evacuations paths for civilians. I am also having the clan heads preparing the member of Their clans without trying to tip our hand that we know about the attack. I've got Shikaku having the new police force setting up protective barriers that will seal off sections of the village so enemy forces can't get in there once activated. The Sandaime is out searching for both Jiraiya and Tsunade to bring them back to Konoha along with 2 teams of Umbu. If I could, I would just send Team Serpent along with the Ino Shikacho clan heads to investigate this, but I need those 3 here to help organize the village protection. But we don't have enough information on the enemy as to who they are, since Orochimaru has to have an army if he plans to attack the village where they are and if they have allies. Minato rubbed his face and said, I don't doubt Orochimaru has other spies in the village still that we haven't found. Some I bet are watching both you and Naruto for when you leave the village for missions, so he can have you captured, as well as Naruto so he can try and gather information about how to destroy his curse seal, as well as use as a hostage to try and use against me. This would normally mean that everyone else besides Naruto would not be needed, so his men would kill anyone with Naruto, and you don't need to be alive for him to study you, but Orochimaru does have a weakness: he wishes to learn every jutsu in the world, and so he needs to be able to have access to the bloodlines in the world to be able to achieve that dream. That is why I have decided that I am sending all of you together as one big all-you-can-eat buffet for Orochimaru. If he comes after you while you are all performing your mission, then Kitsune will throw the Hiraishin kunai she has summoning me to the battlefield, and I'll have 20 teams of Umbu on standby who can be summoned to my location in an instant. If Orochimaru falls for this trap, we can save Konoha from being attacked all in one swift moment. Ino said in a little bit of a scared voice, so we are all nothing but bait. Minato said, no, you are ninja of Konoha. You have each swore an oath to give your lives to protect Konoha and its people. You are all going into Wave to protect the bridge builder, find out information about the weapons and drugs going through Wave, find out about the slave ring going on there and shutting them down. If Orochimaru shows up, then we will deal with it. If he doesn't, then you finish your missions and start preparing for war. If you cannot do that, then hand me your Hayate and I'll place a seal on you to keep what you have heard a secret, and you can hide in the bunkers with the other civilians while your comrades fight and die to protect you. This is not a game. The lives of every man, woman and child in this village is on the line, and if one of you dies then it is regrettable, but the lives of the many are worth more than the lives of the one. If that wasn't the case, then I wouldn't have saved Konoha from the Kyuubi by sacrificing my life and Naruto for all of you. You're not little kids. The moment you put on that Hayate you became adults. Old enough to kill, old enough to drink, old enough to fuck and old enough to die, so now is the time you either put up and act like adults or shut up and quit playing ninja before you get yourself and others killed. It was at that moment the Jounins in the room were reminded of why Minato Namikaze was known as the hero of the Third Great Shinobi War, and for the Genins to finally see a true Kage. Naruto bowed and said, sorry for my disrespect in questioning your orders, Hokage-sama. Minato saw the change in the people in the room and he said, war is not pretty. Friends, family, comrades and innocents are lost in war. I would not do this to any of you if there was another way, but there isn't another way. All we can do is prepare ourselves the best we can and fight with everything we have. I can see the will of fire burns brightly in the hearts of each and every one of you. I can see that you are all strong, where true strength comes from here. As he touched his heart, Minato saw everyone looking at him and said, it doesn't matter how smart you are in mind or how powerful you are in body. Iwa was the strongest army in the world during the Third Shinobi War. Kumo was the smartest army in the world. Together as allies they were a force that should have been able to destroy anyone, but you want to know how we were able to not only stop them but defeat them? It wasn't because we had stronger ninja or smarter ninja, it wasn't because we were more powerful than them, it wasn't even jutsu like the Hiraishin, it was because each and every one of us were fighting to protect our friends, family and loved ones. True strength comes from protecting that which you cherish most, that is the will of fire that destroyed Kumo and Iwa during the Third Shinobi War. Every time we fought for every woman and child we cherished. Every time we were outnumbered, every time we wanted to roll over and die, every time we felt so tired mentally and physically that we just wanted to give up, we remembered the faces of those we held close and we would gain new strength up. For every one of us who died, we took out 20 of TR. For every plan they came up with to defeat us, we came up with 10 to counter and defeat TR. A single stick can be broke easy, a group is much harder to defeat, but when a person has the will of fire in their heart, they don't break the sticks, they set them on fire and burn them to ash and then piss on the ashes to put it out. Iwa fought us with greed, wanting more land. Kumo fought us with hate after their defeat under the Nidaime and Sandaime. When someone fights with greed in their hearts, it's easy to defeat them by making the price of getting it too high for them to pay. When facing someone who fights with hate in their heart, it is easy to defeat them because hate blinds them to what is going on around them. When you focus on one thing, you don't see the attack coming from behind. We let Kumo focus on us with their hate, and we let them wound us so they would focus on us more, while our allies in Suna attacked directly to the heart of Kumo. With so many of their forces focused on us because of their hate, 3/4 of Kumo was destroyed in a single attack because their hate made them weak and predictable and easier to control. Remember those words, you all leave at 7 a.m. from the front gate tomorrow, prepare for anything. Dismissed. Naruto said, actually sir, if I could speak with you privately before you dismissed everyone. I have a question related to the mission. I do not know if it would be classified or not, so can you have everyone wait while we speak privately? As he motioned to the room behind the wall, Minato said, very well. As he got up and pulled the book out, causing the wall to move. Once Minato and Naruto were out of the room, Kushina quickly ran over to the Hokage desk, pulling out a drawer and pulled out the Hokage crystal ball, and Tenten said, hey, I thought Naruto stole that. Kushina said he did, and he hid it pretty good. He hid it in the Forbidden Scroll. If it wasn't for the fact the Hiraishin kunais were sealed in that scroll also, then nobody would have found it for months if not years. Now be quiet, this is going to Ao. As everyone saw what just happened and were stunned. In the room a few moments earlier, Minato asked, what is it you wish to ask? As he turned around only to be sent flying against the wall from a fist from Naruto. Minato winced as he grabbed his jaw and Naruto said, I told you I would break your jaw. Now that I've got that out of my system, I want to first say I understand your orders, father, but you are a fucking asshole. You could have done that entirely another way instead of making everyone there feel like they are nothing more than a tool to be used and thrown away. You may consider them your soldiers, but to me they are my friends and comrades. Each of them have stood by me and have only slightly changed after finding out first about the Kyuubi, my bloodline, Umbu, and then my family. Unlike the rest of those people out there who act like they never once made my life hell and think they can suck up to me because I'm the Yondaime's son. Most of the respect I have from those in that room I have earned, and now you want to put them in danger like this without thinking of everything. Orochimaru is a fucking Sannin. He's been fighting enemies longer than you were alive. While you've been in that seal, he's been doing God knows what and what tricks he has up his sleeve. If he's heard about me and Anko, then he knows about you as well and will plan for you. This whole hero come in at the last second with Hiraishin idea is a stupid-ass idea. You have not thought about the safety of our teams to stand our ground until you arrive if you arrive. Have you ever Hirashined the distance to wave before? What if something happens to the seal on the kunai? What if you fucked up on it like you did the one on me? Are you willing to risk all our lives on a half-baked idea? Minato got up holding his jaw and Naruto said, I won't put my friends and loved ones at risk if I can save them. Minato moved his hand away and said, then what would you have me do, huh? As Hokage, I have to think of all the people of Konoha. Not just you and those you care about. Naruto said, not surprising you would use that excuse. As he crossed his arms. Minato frowned and said, and what's that supposed to mean? Naruto glared at him and said, you know I lied. When I told everyone that day I didn't hate you, I lied. I hate your fucking guts, and you want to know why? It's not because of Kyuubi. Minato said, then what is it? What is it that you hate me for if it's not sealing the Kyuubi in you? Naruto said, I hate you because you never think of the future results of your actions. Do you even know what you have done to me? I bet you don't. After all these years, I bet you still haven't figured out what you have done to me. Minato, who was getting pissed at the way Naruto was talking to him, said, then enlighten me, oh so wise master. Naruto glared at him and said, fine, I will, but only if you promise to never repeat this to anyone. I don't want mom hurt knowing the truth of what you have done. Minato frowned and nods, and Naruto said, do you know how the human body heals? Don't answer that. I'll explain so we can save time. The human body heals by cell splitting. Each cell can split only so many times before it dies. Minato said, I know that. Naruto said, then did you know Tsunade has a seal that allows her to store chakra over the course of her life and allows her to release it all at once to heal from severe injuries by speeding up the cell splitting process? Did you know that each time she uses it she loses months to years off her life depending on the amount of damage and how much she has to heal? Minato's eyes widened slightly as he started to get a bad feeling. Inside the Hokage office, the others there who were watching in the Hokage crystal ball also were getting a feeling. Naruto said, I can see you're starting to understand. Now that is what happens when the human body heals. Now you see, while I can heal normally, thanks to Kyuubi, I also regenerate. I've researched it and found where people have studied animals that regenerate lost limbs, mostly reptiles such as lizards, that when they regenerate a lost limb the limb is only half as strong as it originally was, so it has to work twice as hard to get the use as the old one did. Now, let's say I had my arm cut off, it would grow back weaker than the original, but that's Kyuubi chakra causing that. But what about everything that connects to the new arm? Muscles build by being destroyed and rebuilt. If I had to have a new arm regrown, then the muscles in my shoulders would have to work twice as hard to get the same results, meaning they would have to be destroyed and repaired faster and faster. Now think about all the times you saw me attacked, think of all the damage to my organs. Minato's eyes widened as he thought about what Naruto was saying, and he started to open his mouth, and Naruto said, oh no you don't. You're not getting off that easy. That's only the first thing. I am pissed at you. Sure, finding out that I may die any minute because of my body having healed itself too much was a hard bullet to bite, but that wasn't enough for you. Remember the jutsu you used to defeat Kyuubi, remember how it works. The user and the target souls are both ate by the Shinigami, where they will battle for all eternity in the stomach of the death god. Now also think of how you got the brilliant idea to change that by sealing the Kyuubi in me. Do you really think the Shinigami is going to let the Kyuubi soul go? No, when I die the fox dies and his soul gets ate by the Shinigami or sent to hell, but the problem is you bound the Kyuubi soul and my soul together, asshole. Meaning I don't even get a peaceful afterlife in the Hokage office. Everyone was shocked as they heard I get to spend my afterlife in the belly of the Shinigami, or get sent to hell, where the Kyuubi and every other demon will torment me for the rest of eternity. Kushina covered her mouth and whispered no, as tears began to gather in her eyes as well as others. Tenten pulled her arms around her as she looked at Naruto. Back in the side room, Naruto said, but you see, there's a problem. Not only is the Kyuubi soul connected to mine, but also yours and mom's. Now normally if it was just you, I would drag your ass to hell with me, where I'd make a deal with the Kyuubi to torture you every way possible before he began with me, but I can't let mom befall such a fate. She's an innocent, which is why I've saved her and you from being dragged to hell with me. Minato, who was frozen in place, asked, what do you mean? In a voice filled with sorrow. Naruto sighed as he sat down and said, as long as the Whirlpool Seal has power to send to you and mom, you both will live right now. You both are living off of the chakra living in me, but I've come up with a way to save you both even if I should die, so that you both will live. People naturally release chakra from their bodies into the air. I've created a seal that will draw chakra from the air and store it in battery seals that are connected to the Whirlpool Seal. I placed these absorbing seals in Konoha, as well as sending Kage Bunch into other towns throughout the land where they were installed, and will draw chakra from the towns, making it where you and mom will live for many many years, hopefully long enough for the bond connecting our souls together to be shattered. Minato said, you can't do that. It's my place to go to hell, not yours. Naruto snorts and said, then you shouldn't have included me all those years ago. Besides, I'm not so cruel as to take away from mom the comfort of the man she loves, which is why I am saving you. It's also why I have given you and mom another chance to be parents. Minato asked, what are you saying? Kushina can't have kids anymore. Naruto smirked and said, I know, I read her file, but she's also 2 weeks pregnant now thanks to me. Minato eyes widened and said, what? Inside the Hokage office, Kushina also repeated the words of her husband as she put her hand on her stomach. Back with Naruto. Naruto said, "Yeah, I'm your child. My genetics is made up of half from you and half from mom. As you may or may not know, my sexy no jutsu is an actual shapeshift, meaning I actually become what I appear. That is also why women turn to men when they activate the rape seal. I used the sexy no jutsu on me using my knowledge of the human body to make it as detailed as possible, and I had a Kage Bunshin take some eggs from my ovaries. I then took a sperm sample from me as a male and fertilized the eggs while also using a special jutsu on them to ensure that one would be male while the other female, since they came from me who came from both you. In essence they are in fact me and yet at the same time my siblings. When mom went in for her last exam, I replaced the normal nurse and had her get on a bed that had a seal to knock her out and placed the fertilized eggs in her." Minato screamed, Why did you do that?" Naruto said, "Because mom's greatest dream was to be able to hold her child and take care of it as he or she grows. She's told me that over and over. That was her greatest regret, and I can tell it's also yours, which is why I am giving you both your dreams. You both will have a son and a daughter to raise like you both dreamed, and you can watch them grow up and older, and then watch their children and so on and so forth until I won't even be a memory. She doesn't know about what I've done, and you can't tell her this is my blessing and curse to you. You will have to keep the knowledge of what I have told you a secret in order to ensure mom's happiness as you both live on after I am gone. This secret will burn at your heart, knowing it's your fault this has happened, and knowing that you can't tell anyone about it or ruin my first and maybe last request for you as your son. As far as mom will know is that Kami blessed her with another chance to be a mother, which will make her cherish them even more once I am gone. Telling her the truth would destroy her." Minato said, "What about you? Isn't there something we can do, some way to save you?" Naruto said, "At what cost should I trade bodies like Orochimaru and become nothing more than a parasite feeding off others? Should I try turning my body into a human puppet? Should I seal my body away and transfer my soul to a clone like you and mom? Even if it was possible to do the last, there are things that you have to consider. No man is an island. Your salvation from hell is because mom will need the arms of the man she loves to hold her to be able to pass through the ages without going insane. Watching those she knows dying as she lives on, I couldn't ask someone to give up their mortality for me just so I could cheat death and not feel alone. How could I take away from anyone I love the chance to have a family to pass on who they are so that their legacy can help shape the world? My entire life I've been alone until recently. I couldn't handle possible eternity alone. That in itself would be a fate worse than hell to me, and I never could ask the woman I love to accept a life like that for me." Minato looked down and said, "What about her? I mean, she's going to be hurt." Naruto snorts and said, "People underestimate me too much. Ever since I found out I was dying, I knew I could never burden her with letting her fall for me and then have it taken from her when I suddenly died. And I would never let any children I help create live without me being there. She deserves so much more than that. The happiest moment of my life is when she walked into my life, and the saddest and most hurtful was the day I realized I would have to let her go. If she found out about me, she would sacrifice her mortality to be with me. I know this because she loves me as much as I love her, which is why I've given her her dream as well." Minato frowned and said, "What do you mean?" Naruto said, "Neji is supposed to marry Hanabi, Hinata's sister. It's his uncle's plan to have Neji move to the main branch as well as save Hanabi from the seal. Now that I am in the process of removing the seal, the Hyugas are still Hyugas. They still have their rules about marrying members of their own clan to keep their bloodline strong, and with mom giving Hinata a boost of her bloodline and with Neji being the strongest member born in generations, Neji will be forced to marry Hinata normally." Minato narrowed his eyes and said, "And this isn't a normal situation, is it?" Naruto said, "No, I've made a deal with the Hyugas in order for Neji to gain his freedom from having to marry Hinata or Hanabi." Minato said, "You're the one who made it where Neji asked her out, aren't you?" Naruto said, "No, but I might have helped push him into that decision. If I know anything about her, it's she hates being used. I wouldn't use her or her friends." Minato blinked and asked, "Then how did you influence that?" Naruto said, "Simple, I created a Kage Bunshin who used my sexy no jutsu to look like some woman I remember once passing through town, and made sure when Neji was training that he saw me and the clone making out so he would think that I was a womanizer and was using her, so he would try and protect her by getting closer to her so she would lose interest in me." In the Hokage office, Neji said, "But they had different chakra signatures." A fist slammed into his face as Neji was sent flying by an extremely pissed off Tenten. Minato frowned and said, "So you manipulated him?" Naruto said, do you know how hard it was for me to do that? Every time I see her look at him it makes my heart ache. Every time I hear her say his name I want to show her how much I love her and want her and only her. Every time I think of her future with him it's a torture worse than anything I could think of in hell. She's an angel who should live in heaven while I'm a demon bound for hell. Look, we could discuss this all day but it's not going to change anything. When I first joined Anbu, Anko told me that we are a family. Your squad is your brothers and sisters. Even when you leave Anbu you're still family. We eat together, we fight together, we kill together, we drink together, we live together and we die together. We protect each other and destroy those who threaten our family. For me that oath goes not just to my Anbu team but also my Genin team and the rest of the people in that room. I would fight and die for any of them in an instant and I am not going to let one of them die before I do. I've made about $60,000 from my share of the seals Dustin and Tenten are selling for their shop. I have some other seals I plan to give Tenten later for her shop that will help save the lives of the others if the shit hits the fan. I wasn't going to use them yet but you forced my hand. I want you to go back out there and tell them that I raised some valuable concerns about unknown factors or some bullshit like that and order them to come to Tenten's shop. I'll swing by and get my cash and pay to get everyone re-outfitted with new gear that I've upgraded to protect them. I'll bring the template plates for the seals so they can start selling them also. Minato asked what kind of upgrades. Naruto said, well, I can make any shuriken or kunai enhanced with wind chakra. I can make cloths tougher where they can stop shuriken and kunais unless they are enhanced by wind. I can make Sinbon needles explode with the force of 2 exploding tags. I have created a seal to hide bright hair and make it shorter so women don't have to dye their hair or cut it for missions. They can just tie it up with a ribbon with the seal I designed and it would turn Sakura or Ino hair into shoulder-length brown or black hair to help them blend in and enemy wouldn't be able to use their hair against them. I can give each of the women the anti-rape seal and give everyone the dresswear seal as well as all the guys a storage seal to give them extra chakra if they need it as well as give Lee the ability to use chakra somewhat and many more. Minato thought for a moment and said, very well, I'll tell them but I have to ask what was it you made a deal with the Hyuga with? Naruto said the Hyuga have a blind spot directly behind the 5th vertebrae in their spine. I created a seal that will allow them to see that blind spot giving them 360 degrees of vision when they only had 359 before. I also gave them another seal that would create a shield around their compound to make it where no one without Hyuga blood in them could enter the compound by any ways besides the front gate so there would never be a repeat of the cloud incident. Minato said, I see, let's get back to the others. Naruto nods and both left the room. When Naruto walked back in the room he saw Neji holding his face and Naruto asked, what happened to you? Tenten said, he called me Sama again. In a neutral voice. Hinata said, she's lying. Your mom used that crystal ball to show us everything. Naruto eyes widen as Naruto saw several people glaring at Hinata who quickly hid in her jacket and Naruto asked nervously, what do you mean? Kushina sighed and said, about the fact I'm pregnant as well as everything else. Naruto frowned and said, fuck. Tenten said, you. Before Naruto was sent flying back against the wall before he was pinned to the wall by a pair of kunais as Tenten stomped out of the room. Naruto watched her leave and sighed and thought, damn it. Chapter 13. Naruto, after freeing himself from the wall, glared at his mom and said, ever hear of a thing called privacy? Kushina looked sheepish and said, I thought you and Minato would finally come to fist with each other since I know words weren't bringing you together and I wanted to make sure neither of you get hurt. Naruto put his hands to his face and said, don't just nobody perfect, we all make mistakes, you need to worry about yourself and the twins. I'll be fine. Kushina said, fine, my son, my own flesh and blood is dying and you expect me to accept your fine. Naruto said, we all die, mom. I'm a ninja, I could die on this mission or the next or come across some guy mugging a lady and an ally tonight on my way home and when I try to save her only to get killed by the guy who got a lucky shot in. I can accept that because it means that I died doing the right thing. Ninja are not supposed to grow old and die a slow painful death. We are to go quickly and silently and without a trace. Kushina had tears in her eyes and said, but Naruto said, but nothing, mom. I'm not a little boy, I'm not a baby who needs protecting. You conceived me and carried me and gave birth to me, that was your duty to me, I was born strong because of you, and because of that I was able to grow up on my own thanks to you. Now you have a duty to 2 others, they need you just as I did. It's your job to take care of them, and even if the baka over there did screw up, he did what he had to. If it wasn't for him then I would have died when Kyuubi destroyed Konoha, and if he took me and ran then I would be the son of a coward. He's maybe the yellow flash, but it's not because he's a coward. You did not fall in love with a coward, you fell in love with a hero, mom, so while I do think he should be made to pay by sleeping on the couch or floor while waiting on you hand and foot during your pregnancy, you shouldn't hate him. Kushina said then he should have used someone else. Naruto said maybe, but could you stand to know that your husband would curse another with a fate like this only because he wasn't noble enough to give his own son first? Will he still be the man you fell in love with then? Kushina closed her eyes and turned her head away. Naruto sighed and said, don't do that, don't look at me like that, because it's my life. None of you have the right to give me looks of pity, because if it wouldn't have been for Kyuubi attacking Konoha, most of you wouldn't have been born, since most of you were conceived shortly after the Kyuubi attack, because your parents were thankful they had each other still and wanted to show the other how much they loved each other. I don't pity myself, because pity doesn't do anything but make others feel sorry for you and makes you feel even worse than you were before. I don't need your pity. Kiba said, dude, you're cold. Naruto frowned and said, no Kiba, just numb, we got a mission to prepare for. I'll get everything I was going to have you all get myself anyways. I'll see you all at the gates. As he shoe-shined away, Kakashi said, well, I guess he's right. Everyone meet at the gates at 7 a.m. and don't be late. As he shoe-shined away, Sasuke snorts and said he's one to talk. Before stuffing his hands in his pockets and walking away. One by one everyone left the room except for Minato and Kushina. Minato walked over and held her as she cried as he also began to cry. Naruto appeared in front of the wolf claw weapon shop and frowned as he felt Tenten Chakra was not there, and he entered the store and Dustin said, hello Naruto, how are you today? Naruto said, been better, I need to get some supplies for a big mission out of town. Can I have my Kage bunch and get it, because I need to get other things done as well? Dustin said, sure, will this be cash or credit? Naruto said, cash. Also, I got some new seal templates for your store. My clones can explain them to you. As he created 10 clones and handed 2 scrolls and his wallet before he shoe-shined away. A little bit later, Naruto appeared in the woods and walked in the direction of the cabin. When he got there, he heard the sound of crying inside the cabin and he bit his lip and thought, what should I do? The wind blew and the sound of snaping was heard, and Naruto blinked and looked up just in time to scream as a huge tree branch fell, and he tried to dive out of the way only to get pinned under the branch. Tenten, who was crying inside the cabin, heard a scream outside the cabin and quickly wiped the tears off her face as she walked to the window and screamed Naruto. As she saw Naruto pinned under a tree limb that was over 30 feet long and a foot wide. As she exited the house, she quickly ran to his side and said, are you all right, Naruto? Naruto said, I can't move. My arms are pinned to my chest when I tried to protect my vitals. Tenten frowned as she tried to lift the limb and said, what are you doing here? Trying to keep Naruto and herself distracted. Naruto said, I came to see you. Tenten bit her lip and said, and what makes you think I want to see you? Naruto frowned and said, I don't know, I guess I thought I don't know what I was thinking. As he closed his eyes and tried to move his body. Tenten said, it's too heavy for me to lift even with chakra. Can you make any clones to help? Naruto said, no, I used up most of my chakra earlier on a couple of special clones before I came here. I'm pretty much on fumes now. Tenten stood up straight and said, shit, what were so special that you used up most of your clones? Naruto said, battery seals for the mission tomorrow so everyone could have a better chance of surviving. Tenten said, why the hell do you have to do that? Naruto asked, do what? Tenten said, be so selfless, why do you have to go so far for others? Naruto looked up at the sky and after a few moments said, so others would have what I couldn't, happiness, love, joy. Tenten bit her lip and said, but you could have those things also, I care for you, I'm happy with you, I have joy in my life because of you. Naruto, who was still looking at the sky, said, look up, just do it, you see that cloud, it's up there all alone, that cloud is me, but I'm not alone, you see that blue sky, that's you. If we were together each day the troubles that come with me would grow bigger and bigger until they consume the sky above them, until the day my troubles became too big to handle and I would fall and leave you alone in the sky. Chuckles. I think I can understand now why Shikamaru likes looking at the clouds so much, but you. See, before I go out, I can give the world a little happiness like a spring shower, and from that shower the earth below will be filled with beauty as flowers and plants bloom and grow because of me. That is why I am so selfless, but also why I am afraid to be with you. Tenten said, I don't understand. Naruto said, because I don't want my problems to consume you. I know eventually you will age till night takes you and you leave this world, but before that I will have done left you alone, having fallen somewhere alone the way I'm not the only cloud in the sky. See, there's Niji and there Lee, and wait, that is Lee. Tenten, who was looking up, blinked and a shout of extreme lotus, as heard before, a crash hit in the woods nearby. Tenten gasped and said, I'll be back, don't go anywhere, oops, sorry, my bad. As Naruto's sweat dropped and looked at the limb on his chest. Tenten quickly ran in the direction the dust cloud was coming from, and when she got there she saw Lee and Guy near a crater hugging, and she quickly said, "Lee, Guy-sensei, come quickly, I need your help." As she turned and began to run back to where Naruto was. Guy and Lee, who were about to hug, blinked before running after Tenten. When they got to where the cabin was, both went wide-eyed as they saw Naruto, and Guy said quickly, "My youthful students, we must help our comrade in his hour of need." As he moved over, picked up the limb himself, and Lee and Tenten quickly moved Naruto out from under it. Naruto breathed heavy for several seconds and said thanks. Guy said, "You are most welcome, Naruto-kun, but what caused such an unyouthful act? Did the tree lose some of its youth?" Naruto blinked and Tenten said, "Yeah, some of the limbs around here need cut down since they are old or too heavy. Thank you both for coming along when you did. I don't know how I would have gotten him out of there." Guy stuck the nice guy pose and said, "Think nothing of it, my youthful student, but comely, your training is not over for the day, and I am sure our youthful comrades have things they must also be doing. Let us run into the sunset." As a genjutsu of a sunset appeared, and he took off running, as did Lee. Naruto said, "I still haven't figured that one out." Tenten said, "No one has." Smack. Naruto had hit the ground from Tenten punching him on top of the head. Naruto said, "Ugh, swirly." As his eyes spun. Tenten grabbed his feet and dragged him into the cabin. In the Hokage office, Kushina said, "Reminds me of a caveman, except in this case it's the cave woman." As she looked at Minato, who was also on the ground with swirly eyes from where she beat on him. When Naruto was able to see again, he found himself on a bed with Tenten laying beside him, holding him close, and Tenten said, "Just shut up and lay here. You're not going anywhere ever, and that's final." Naruto smiled and said, "All right, you win." Tenten smiled and said, "Good boy. You might just make a good pet yet." Naruto chuckled, as did Tenten, who looked up at him and said, "I meant it, you're not going to leave my side ever. I love you, and I am going to cherish every day we have together as if it was our last." Naruto asked, "Are you sure?" Tenten flicked his nose and said, "Bad boy, don't question master." Naruto, whose eyes crossed, blinked a few times, and the next moment Tenten found herself flipped where she was on the bottom and Naruto was hovering over her and looking into her eyes and said, "I love you and I'm sorry." Tenten said, "Just shut up and kiss me." Naruto said, "Yip yip," as he leaned down and kissed her on the lips. In the Hokage office, Kushina put the crystal ball away and wiped a tear from her eye and said, "Our son has found happiness now. Come on, you are taking me out for dinner and you are going to cater to me until I get this feeling of helpless gone." As she got up, and Minato quickly got up and opened the door, and she stopped at the door and kissed him and said, "I'm angry at you and I expect you to find some way to fix this mistake, but I still love you." Minato said, "I will, dear, I'll make it up to you and Naruto, but what about the babies?" As he looked at her stomach. Kushina rubbed her stomach and said, "They are a gift given to us with a little help from heaven. They are our children just as much as Naruto is. Now come on, I want some chocolate cake and ramen." Minato thought, "At least it's better than the sushi-flavored dango." Chapter 14. The next day everyone was waiting at the front gates when Tenten came running up and said, "Sorry I'm late, I had to run by my shop and get my stuff." Sakura said, "But you live above your shop." Tenten said, "True, but I slept at my cabin last night." Ino said, "Oh," with Naruto. With a devilish smile on her face. Tenten blushed and said, "What do you mean?" Ino, seeing the blush, said, "Oh come on, I can't believe you're still trying to trick us. We heard everything yesterday. We all know that you're Naruto's other fiancé, and he's madly in love with you." Tenten said, "He never said directly I was his fiancé, did he?" Ino thought a moment and said, "Well, no, but..." A female voice interrupted. "Anything else?" Ino Cloud say, "Excuse me." Catching everyone's attention, and they saw a woman in her 20s with brown hair and brown eyes in a flower-patterned dress standing there. Sakura said, "Yes, miss. Can we help you?" The woman said, "I hope so. You see, I heard there was a man here from Wave Country, and I was hoping to speak with him a moment. Is he here, or has he already left?" Kurenai said, "Why, may I ask, are you looking for him, miss?" The woman said, "Oh, forgive me, where are my manners? My name is Inari. I'm originally from Wave, and I was hoping to ask the man if I might be able to join him on his way back to Wave, because I'm worried about my father Gibbs. He's a retired sailor who works on one of the docks there, and I haven't heard from him in some time, and I was hoping to journey back to Wave to speak with him, but it's not a trip that's safe for a woman to travel alone." Tazuna frowned as he heard this, and said, "Do you know where he works?" Inari said last time I heard from him was about 6 months ago, and he worked on the northern side of Wave. Tazuna grunted as he said, sorry lady, I can't help you. Inari looked hurt and said, but please sir, you don't understand. My father's the only family I have left after my mother died giving birth to me. I can't take not knowing if he's still okay. If you had a daughter, could you imagine if she didn't know if you were alive or not? Please, as she began to sound like she was begging as she moved over to Tazuna and put her hands to his chest. Tazuna saw everyone looking at them and Tazuna frowned and said, if you can wait another month things will get easier once the bridge I'm building is finished and you could come check on your dad then. Inari said, please, is there something wrong? As she lowered her voice, is there something wrong in Wave? Please, if there is, please tell me even in a whisper. I won't tell, but I need to know please. As she gave him the puppy I know jutsu with tears before she placed her head on his shoulder and the sound of sobs was heard. Tazuna frowned and whispered in her ears, and after a few moments the woman sniffed and sat up and said, I wish you luck and please hurry building your bridge so I can come check on my dad. As she wiped tears off her eyes and began to walk away sadly. Ino said, what did you tell her? Tazuna said, I just told her that I do have a daughter who's worrying about me and that I'm not sure if we had room in the boat for everyone already, much less more people. Just then there was a swirl of leaves and Naruto appeared wearing a pair of black umbu-style pants and a black shirt with body armor underneath it. A sword over his shoulder, a black cloak with a hood that was down. A vest loaded with scrolls as well as 4 weapon pouches. Naruto said, sorry, I'm late, one of my contacts got me some information I'll brief everyone on once we get started. Kitsune smirked behind her mask and said, really, was your contact a relative of the guy who builds boats in his basement? In an amused tone. Naruto said, yeah, so are we all ready? Kakashi said, we were waiting on you and Tenten. Naruto blinked and said, you were late also Tenten. As he looked at Tenten. Tenten held up her hand and said, yeah. I needed time to think, so I slept at the cabin last night. Naruto said, oh, I see. Ino said, stop that. We all know that you are both together. Naruto said, are we? I thought Tenten was with Niji. As the group began to leave the gates. Tenten said, I am, though I want to talk to him privately later and you also. We have much to discuss. Sakura said, you're not fooling us again, Naruto. Naruto looked at her and said, Sakura, you will never see through all my tricks or even know when I am fooling you most of the time. So who is overall in charge and any plans of actions? Dragon said, Kakashi-san is overall in charge of this mission, followed by me, then Hibi Asuma, then Guy. Kakashi said, divide into teams Umbu Diamond Formation Team 7 and 8 Front Square Formations Team 10 and 9 Back Square Formation. Hyuga's I want checks every 10 minutes, sensors on full alert. Naruto said, yes sir. As he quickly moved into formation along with the rest. After 5 minutes of walking, Kakashi, not looking up from his book, said, so what was the info you were able to gather? Naruto looked back and said, you want to tell us anything, Tazuna? Anything you feel we should know in order to protect you better. In a questioning tone. Tazuna said, not that I can think of. Naruto said, how about the fact your country is currently enslaved under the multimillionaire Gato of Gato Shipping? How about the fact he has a naval blockade around your country where he is running slaves, drugs and weapons through there? How about the fact that you and your bridge are a great threat to Gato control of Wave and he wants you dead and your bridge destroyed? Tazuna's eyes widened and he saw everyone looking at him and he gulped and said, I don't know what you're talking about. Kakashi frowned and said, are you sure about that, Tazuna? Because if we find out that you knowingly lied to us, our contract is voided and we will leave you. If you want to change your story, we can take a vote to see if we will continue at a small fee. It's your choice. Naruto information is usually pretty good. Tazuna was sweating and said, all right, Wave country is really poor. Gato has already killed our feudal lord and is currently running our country with me and those helping with the bridge his only opposition after he had my son-in-law publicly beheaded several months ago for standing up against Gato. All the people of my land are suffering except for Gato and his men. Men are either killed or disappear, and woman, you don't want to know the worst part is the children. Any child found out after dark is never seen again. Please, our people need help. All our funds are tied up in the bridge trying to break free. The only reason we even got the money to pay for a C rank is several of the workers' wives prostituted themselves out. Please, we sacrificed everything to get to this point. Don't turn away now, please, I beg of you. As he got on his knees. Naruto frowned and said, why didn't you tell us this before? Why lie? Tazuna said we tried to get help before from Sunagato paid them to look the other way. We were afraid you would do the same if you found out. Naruto looked at the others and said how long will it take to get to Wave? Kakashi said civilian pace 13 hours. Naruto said is there anything else you can tell us? Anything specific, maybe the number of men type of men does he have ninja we may face? Anything you could tell us would be useful. Tazuna said he's got mostly mercenaries. He has 2 guys who act like samurai without the whole honor thing as his bodyguards. He's living in the Wavelord's estate. The only ninja I seen were a couple with scratched Hi-8 and those guys with the musical note on it. Kakashi asked musical note. Tazuna said yeah, I think they said they were from the Hidden Sound village, but they only show up when it's time to guard a large shipment of illegal stuff like slaves or weapons and drugs. Wait, there was one other, what was his name? Oro something. He isn't seen often and I haven't seen him myself, but I heard others talking about him meeting with Gato when he arrives from the mainland before he heads out on a ship heading for Sea Country or coming back from there. Hebe grabbed her neck where her seal used to be and said Sea Country. Softly. Naruto said how many men do you think he has on hand with Gato, and was there anyone with that Oro guy? Tazuna said Gato got a small army. I don't know how many exactly since so many come and go constantly. I can't think of anything else I heard about that Oro guy. Kakashi said anything else. Tazuna bit his lip and said only a request if you decide not to do this mission or decide to leave, will you take my daughter and grandson and escape with them? I don't care if I die, but I don't want to see them hurt. Kakashi said we will see what we can do. Tazuna sighed and said that's the best I can get, I guess so, will you continue on? Kakashi said give us a few moments to talk privately. Naruto have a couple of clones guard him. Naruto quickly made a couple who took Tazuna over by a tree while the rest of the group moved across from Tazuna. Kakashi said in a soft voice, so is there anything else you learned, Naruto? Naruto said no, Tazuna just told my clone that Wave was currently enslaved by Gato of Gato Shipping who was using Wave to hide his illegal activities. I used the info we had from the Hokage to fill in what the illegal stuff was to see if I could get more. Sakura said your clone that woman. With wide eyes. Naruto smirked and said like I said Sakura, you will never be able to see through all my tricks. Causing Sakura to glare. Dragon said so what should we do, Kakashi? I know we will carry on the mission. Before Kakashi could answer, Naruto said how far is it from the mainland to Wave? I mean how far is that channel? Kitsune said about 5 miles. Why? Naruto bit his lip and said I've got something, it's something I haven't showed anyone yet that will probably piss off the Yamanaka clan, but if we can stop about a mile from the coast for the night by dawn I can give us a lot more info on not only the layout of Wave, but also a general idea where most of the people are and Gato men are at as well as the general number of people who can use chakra on Wave and maybe their strength as well. Ino narrowed her eyes and said, and why would it piss my clan off? Naruto said I'd rather wait until tonight to hear you yelling at me about it. So can we get to that point by then? Kakashi said yeah, but someone may have to carry Tazuna for part of it. Guy said I will do that, my youthful comrade. Kakashi nods and said let's travel at normal pace till noon, and then after we take a quick lunch break we will travel the rest of the way carrying him. Are you sure your idea will work? Naruto said yeah. Kakashi nods and said anyone else have anything to say? Nobody said anything and Kakashi stood up and said well you're lucky Tazuna that there are more Gen-Ins who are looking for action instead of adults, so we will continue the mission. But if we find out you are lying again to us, the consequences will not be pretty. Tazuna gulped and said I understand. Kakashi smiled and said good, everyone back in formation, you have your orders. Let's go. As the group traveled the next hour with everyone on alert, nobody really said anything until boredom took over and it was Kiba who broke the silence and said hey Naruto, yesterday you said you tricked Neji into doing something and you also tried to trick your mom. Have you tricked anyone else here like that? Silence was his answer and Sakura said yeah, Naruto, have you tricked anyone else into doing something? I mean now that we are all starting to see the real you, we saw how you tried to trick Kakashi-sensei that day we rebuilt that fence. Naruto frowned and said does it matter? Ino said of course it matters. We want to know how much you used us. Naruto sighed and said directly or indirectly. Kiba said what do you mean? Naruto looked at him and said do you mean did I trick you directly by targeting you specifically or were you involved indirectly in one of my tricks? Kiba said I guess both then. Naruto said then I've tricked all of you. As he looked back down the road. Tenten said, I think you should explain Naruto how you tricked them and why. Naruto looked back at her and his face changed several times, showing he was fighting with himself on what he should say or do, and he saw the look on her face change to a pleading one and he sighed and said fine. I guess I can start with Sakura and Ino. Sakura said, what about us? Naruto looked at her and said, before I answer, I want you both to be quiet until I finish. Do you both understand? Good? Now first, I want to say that I was greatly disappointed in both of you because you were the smartest girl in our class and spent more time in the library before we graduated than anyone else here. Sakura. You claim that you love Sasuke and wanted to help him restore his clan, but did you ever actually look up what that would involve, or did you actually just think that you would lay down and pop out a kid or two? Sakura turned beet red and Naruto said, don't answer, because we already know you did. If you would have looked up the laws around the clans, you would have found the clan restoration part was on the very first page of clan rules. The very first page. If you would have seen that, then you would have known that Sasuke would be required to have more than one woman to help him restore his clan. As for you, Ino, you're an heiress of a major clan. Where Sakura is guilty of not looking it up, you are guilty of not even studying the rules of your position. You think that just because you're the heir or heiress, it gives you the right to do what you want. Even if there are laws that say the Hokage and council can't interfere in clan business, there are ways around those laws, and also higher laws like the one I'm using to remove the caged bird seal from the Hyuga clan. If you would have studied the laws regarding the clans as any heir or heiress should, then you and Sakura would never have broken your friendship all those years ago and nearly killed each other that one day. At this, everyone was looking at both girls, who looked embarrassed and shocked. Naruto said, when I found out that law, I was just going to tell you, Sakura, about it, but then you said something that pissed me off, so I decided that I would trick you so that you wouldn't have time to run your mouth without thinking and hurt others by being on permanent PMS. What I did was told you about the law so you knew that you and Ino didn't need to fight anymore, but then I went to Ino and told her about the law and tricked her into keeping your rivalry going so you would fight over the title of first wife. But I made it where you both would start to try and prove who was the strongest and smartest, so I told her I would become a spy, telling her where you were in skills. Then I turned around and told you I had spied on Ino getting just a little higher, so I set the bar for both of you to start actually training to become kunoichi, instead of being useless fangirls like you were. Don't you dare yell at me about it. Think about the weak little girls you both were before I did that, and now think about how strong you are and how proud you are of all that you have accomplished, as well as the pride others are giving you by becoming something more than a cock tease. Both girls were sputtering, while the others were all wide-eyed. Naruto said, now you see, this had a side effect because I knew how Ino couldn't let Sakura get the better and Sakura couldn't let Ino get the better, and I knew Ino would want to keep getting stronger and not be lazy like her team had been doing before. So I knew that she would yell at Shikamaru and Choji to get their butts training also just to shut her up, and I know you already figured that out, Shikamaru, because you're probably the smartest person here. Shikamaru muttered, troublesome. Naruto said, next we have Sasuke. I told you how I was selling information on your little fanboy back when I suspected that he was a spy. I also got you to agree to let me put the bloodline protection seal on you once it was finished. You know why I did that. It wasn't so I could use it free the Hyuga. I used your clan rivalry against the Hyuga to stroke your ego into agreeing to letting me put it on because the seal has a failsafe. Once I figured out the true purpose of Orochimaru curse seal and figured out the spy was interested in you, it's easy to figure out why. I did the same thing I figured out Orochimaru was planning to do to you and offered you power, and lo and behold, you jumped at the offer without thinking about what it really was you were going to have to pay. I also told you power comes at a price always. Naruto took a deep breath and said, I figured out something that I can't believe nobody else has, and it makes me question everyone higher in rank than me for not figuring it out for themselves. Orochimaru wants the Sharingan to help him achieve his dream of learning every jutsu in the world, and compared to Itachi and Kakashi-sensei, you would be a whole lot easier to manipulate into getting your body and bloodline, and you would be tempted to give him exactly what he wants because he knows the simple truth about prodigies. Prodigies seem stronger than they are because they look for the easiest way to get power, and the curse seal would give you power, and getting offered training by a Sannin would also give you power while you trained your body for him to take over later so he wouldn't have to train it himself. I offered you power just like he would. You would do anything to kill Itachi to avenge your clan. Even use the curse seal when you know it would slowly destroy your mind every time you use it because you believe you're better or stronger than the seal, which would make it easier and easier for Orochimaru to get you to defect from the village to get in his hands. And yes, I know you're saying you wouldn't defect, but Orochimaru would want a strong body to possess while making sure you didn't get too skilled to challenge him, so he would get you to defect because in Konoha he couldn't control your training. Sasuke said, you think you're so smart. Well, what's actually forcing me to get that seal you are designing? My word. With a smirk. Naruto smirked and said, and that is why I said prodigies always look for the quickest way for power. Remember the seal I placed on you, the double chakra storage seal? Well, it is in fact the chakra storage seal, as I promised. It's also got 6 other seals built into it. One of which is the actual bloodline protection seal. Everyone's eyes widen, and Tenten said, you already finished it. Naruto said, yeah, but I guess I should explain how it works so you will know why I haven't already gave it to the Hyugas. You see, the failsafe that I built in the seal is made where transplants can't be done because the seal encodes the bloodline to the chakra signature of the person who gets it. In other words, you get a curse seal after you have the bloodline seal on your bloodline is bye-bye. Orochimaru cuts out your eyes and put them in a new body. New body, new chakra signature bloodline, bye-bye. You sleep with a woman who accidentally gets pregnant, hers and the baby chakra signature would be different than yours, meaning the baby wouldn't have your bloodline. The only way after you get the seal for more Sharingan user to come is if you put a special seal I am designing still called the spouse seal that I will also have to give to free the Hyuga. The spouse seal will make it where a child could be born with a Sharingan, but a one-night stand or a rape wouldn't. That way you would know who could have the Sharingan and who couldn't, while making sure Orochimaru doesn't get the Sharingan or later the Byakugan. Sasuke frowned and said, what about the other 4 seals that you said are mixed in with the seal I have? Naruto said, a tracking seal in case Orochimaru or someone else kidnaps you in hopes of trying to break my seal, a power regulation seal, which will keep you from killing yourself from overusing the seal. You can only use it once every 2 days to keep from destroying your body, similar to what is happening to my body, and the last is actually my pride and joy. Something that protects all my seals. I call it Kage. Every day it cast a genjutsu over the seal, showing a different seal that has nasty side effects, while the real seal is hidden in the shadow of the genjutsu, and as I said, every day a genjutsu is cast over it, so after the first day you have 1 genjutsu, the second day 2, and so on and so forth. Right now you have over 20 genjutsu over the real seal, and while you can see the location of the seal with your Sharingan or the Byakugan, you can't see the real look of the seal. To say everyone was shocked was an understatement. After a few moments, Kurenai asked, what about that whole doubting the Hyuga clan? We know now that you were the one who caused Neji to ask Tenten out. Naruto said, I said that to trick you, Kurenai-sensei, actually. Kurenai narrowed her eyes and said, me why? Naruto said, Hinata is stronger than people think. A few of my clones came across her a couple of times training secretly in the woods and learned she's creating her own style of gentle fist that looks like it will actually be stronger than the one the rest of the clan uses without using as much chakra, since it incorporates her natural chakra nature, and once it's finished I bet she could beat every member of her clan with it, but she won't because she doesn't believe in herself, which is part of why she likes me. She wants to be confident like I am. I know that you're a mother figure to her, just like the Sandy Aim is a grandfather figure to me. There are things I would do for him that I wouldn't do for others, and there are things Hinata would do for you she wouldn't do for others, but you see her as a daughter and would try to help her while also trying to protect her. When I told you I suspected it was Hinata threatening to use the seal on Neji to get him to date Tenten so she could ask me out, you instantly defended her like I knew you would, even though I knew what I was saying about her was bullshit. I also knew that you would sneak around and talk to her privately just to make sure, and you would let it slip that I might be interested in someone else. I did that so Hinata would build more confidence in herself, especially with the scroll I gave you to help her get stronger in not just her clan style, but also as a healer, which is one of Hinata's dreams, just like freeing the Branch family. I knew when she heard I was trying to free them as well as believed she could get stronger as a healer with that scroll, she would dive into her own training and try to impress me enough to see her, and with you encouraging her and showing her that her hard work is paying off, then her confidence in herself would also improve, which is why she was able to tell on all of you yesterday, because her confidence has gotten better. I also knew that seeing Hinata getting stronger would cause Kiba to want to be the alpha of his team and have to get stronger also, and Shino wouldn't want to be left behind so he would train also. Everyone was wide-eyed looking at him, and Kurenai, whose eyes were darting back and forward, let her shoulders sag and said, I can't believe you were able to plan that all out. Naruto said, my stealth skills only took me so far when I was pranking. Being able to paint the Hokage monument in broad daylight without getting caught took more skills than just deciding to do it and be quiet. I had to plan out the village security patrols, get my supplies prepared beforehand where they wouldn't be discovered close enough to the target I could get them since I didn't know anything about sealing then. I had to have my escape routes planned as well as traps to counter the guys I knew would be after me all beforehand, as well as plans on what to do if I was discovered before I was finished and who discovered me. There's a few I know who would have cut my rope and let me fall to my death and make it look like an accident if they could. The academy is mostly graded on book smarts anyways, and as you all know now history is wrote by the victor and can be changed from the truth in order to make the victor look stronger. Take the Shodame Hokage, for example. Can anyone guess the easiest way to have killed him was, and why he was so hard for Madara Uchiha to defeat? Sasuke said because he was stronger Madara and you could use fire jutsu to overpower him. Naruto laughed and said nope, get him in the air and attack him there. Mokuton only works by being able to touch a plant or by being able to touch the ground since it is created from mixing earth and water nature together. In the land of fire there are plenty of trees for Hashirama to get his hands on to use. If you would have gotten him out at sea or in the desert, his ass would have been grass pretty quickly. That was how Madara was able to kill him at the Valley of the End, I bet. I had a couple of clones go there and look at it. There's no plants down there for him to use, and hardly any land since the river takes up most of the valley. Get him in the bottom, jump to the top, summon Kyuubi, and have the fox flame the valley as his face suddenly lost color as he looked back at Kitsune. Asuma dropped his cigarette and said that's how he did it, that's how he survived the fight. Tazuna said is there something wrong, you all just stop walking. Naruto shook his head and said no, just an assignment from another mission a client gave us for an award to see if we actually had a brain instead of skills. We just figured out just another piece of the puzzle that fell into place. Anyways, as I was saying, I knew getting Ino force Shikamaru and Choji to train more would make Asum Sensei train them better. You seeing the improvement in Hinata would want to train each of them fairly so you would train them better, with Sakura getting stronger to match Ino and Sasuke seeing my own growth would train harder so Kakashi Sensei would work on us more. And Guy wouldn't want to be left behind by his eternal rival so he would force his team to train more to be Kakashi. In the end I used you all to make yourselves stronger and your respect for each other and me would increase. Hibi said you didn't use me. Naruto looked at her and said I used you and the others on your team indirectly. I knew village security sucked. I know how influential Kakashi Sensei was, and so I knew that me revealing how easy I got past several security spots as well as info on the spy I found would cause him to want to protect his comrades and would have told the Sandaime even if I asked him not to so I wouldn't get in trouble, and the Sandaime would then report it to Ibiki who would start ragging all your asses to fix those mistakes, improving the village security. I even counted on possibly meeting Ibiki and telling him how I did it and where they were. I just never counted on the other things. Hibi said you wanted to get all of us in trouble. I'm going to get your ass. Naruto said leave my ass alone, you already tried to rape me once. You're a worse pervert than Hinata is. At least she doesn't directly attack me, just sabotages my plumbing so she can use her bloodline to spy on me when I have to bath in the rivers. Thud. Everyone turned to Hinata and Naruto said I swear after 4 years I thought she would finally be able to stop fainting like that. Kurenai said Hinata wouldn't ever do that. As she moved over to Hinata who was on the ground, Naruto said oh really? What if I told you Hinata currently has a picture of me with nothing on in the river where I bathed after she broke the pipes to my apartment? What if I told you that picture was actually on her right now? Would you think little Hinata would be so innocent then? Kurenai frowned and said how do you know she's got it on her? Naruto said because I detected her presence when I was bathing in the river and I remember feeling her chakra not too far away every time the pipes to my apartment broke over the past few years. She would always run away before I could see who it was, but this last time I created a clone disguised as a fish that swam downriver and came up behind her, which is how I found out about the Hyuga blind spot. And the clone was disguised as another girl and Hinata was startled and the clone talked to her and got her to confess she really was spying on me, and the clone decided to have a little fun and told her she was a photographer and was out looking for birds to take picture of, but for a little money she would take a picture of me bathing. Hinata agreed and my clone just happened to have met Hinata this morning as the agreed upon date for her to buy the picture. Tenten said you set her up and sold her pictures of you. Naruto said it's just my back from the waist up with me turned my head sideways while the river covered everything else. Besides, $25,000 was a nice little paycheck to get supplies for this mission. Several eyes widened and Tenten said $25,000 for a picture of you. I know you're big, but isn't that a little expensive? Everyone turned to look at Tenten who suddenly realized what she said, and Ino said, oh, and how do you know his size? As she got a Cheshire grin. Tenten said, oh well you see, Nico said when Naruto-san was in the hospital in his coma, Tenten was in a chair by his bed and fell asleep, and when she woke up her hand was on it. Causing Tenten to blush, as did Naruto. Tenten said how did you know that? Naruto was in a coma and I was the only other person in the room. Nico said that you knew of. There was actually 2 Umbu in the room just in case you were actually tricking Naruto-san to get close to him to kill him later or in case someone tried to assassinate him while he was weakened. I was one of them. Nico said because Hebe here was the other guard on duty and she was the one who placed your hand there while you were asleep. Naruto frowned and said, why is it every time you come near me I find myself being molested in some shape or form, Hebe? Hebe said because I owe you big time and told you I would become your slave wife bitch or personal assassin for what you did for me. Naruto said, but I was in the coma before that happened. Hebe said Buns needed her cherry pop to get rid of the stress of being on Team Green Bean and I thought you might be desperate for some TLC because of you situation back then. Kitsune said, do you have no shame, Hebe? Hebe said the question you should be asking is, does your son have no shame? Naruto said, hey, I have plenty of shame. It was visible when I streaked through town in my boxers after you stole everything in my apartment including the cheese off my mousetrap. A groan drew everyone's attention to Hinata, who wept and covered her face with the front of her jacket as she remembered what was said. Unfortunately, the picture she had hidden in her jacket fell out when she did that, causing her to go red in the face even more. Naruto smirked as he saw the shocked look on Kurina's face and said, told ya. Kakashi said, as amusing as this is, I think we should continue on our way and we need to be on alert, so no talking unless you detect something. Reluctantly everyone got moving again. Around 1 Kakashi said, alright, I think we can take a small break. Tazuna said, thank God my feet are killing me. As he walked over and sat under a tree. Kakashi said, Team 8 scout the area for water. Team 10 get firewood. Team 9 I want you to scout a mile behind us. See if you see any signs of us being followed. Team 7 scout a mile ahead. Nico Hebe 2 miles east, Kitsune Dragon 2 miles west. Sensei will stay at camp protecting the client. Go. Several highs were heard as the teams began their duties. After everyone got back to camp and began to eat the food the senseis had prepared, Kakashi said, alright Tazuna, we are getting a little behind schedule. I want to get to the coast before dark so we can cross the channel at first light. In order for us to do that, you're going to have to be carried by one of us so we can pick up our pace. Guy has agreed to carry you, so if you would get on his back after we eat, we should make it to the coast in a few hours. Tazuna said, I'm not some little kid. Kakashi said, true, but you are a civilian and as ninja we can travel a whole lot quicker than you and we can get off the main road, which is where most enemies would set up an ambush to attack us, not expecting us to carry you and instead you walking back to wave. Tazuna's eyes widened a moment before he sighed and said, alright, but he better be careful and not cause any accidents where my head hits the tree branches and limbs. Naruto said, damn, I was so going to pay to see that happen. With a smirk on his face. Tazuna glared at Naruto and said, you're just a little demon child at heart, aren't you? Silence was the answer he received as all joking left and all the joy from Naruto's face left as well. Naruto threw his food into the fire and stood up and said in a neutral tone, Sensei, I'm going to take point, see if I might detect anything. Before he shoeshined away. Before Tazuna knew it, he found himself slammed into a tree by Kakashi, who said, don't ever say that again about him. As he dropped Tazuna on his ass. As Tazuna said, what the hell was that as he stopped as he noticed the area where he had been sitting moments before had several weapons stuck in the ground, causing Tazuna to look at everyone there and saw that he was being glared at by the ninja. He then gulped and thought, me and my big mouth. Though if you look really closely you could see that Kitsune, Hebe and Tenten were all just clones, as the real them had disappeared after throwing the weapons. 2 miles away from the camp, Naruto was glaring at Anko, who had just captured him with the hidden snake hand no jutsu, and he found himself now currently wrapped with snakes pinning his arms to his side. Anko took off her mask and smirked and said, never thought you would be a coward. Naruto said, I'm not a coward. The drunk didn't know what he was talking about. As he tried to get free. Anko said, yeah right. Listen Gaki, don't bullshit with me. I know being called that hit a few buttons just like every time I am called traitor gets to me. You don't have to put up with it alone, you know that. Naruto felt 2 presences land behind him as Anko looked over his shoulder and said, looks like the cavalry's here. I'll leave him in your hands. As she released the jutsu before shoeshining away. Naruto turned and saw Tenten and Kushina, who had taken off her mask, standing there, and he sighed and Kushina looked at him and then at Tenten and said, I think I'll go back and make sure we didn't kill the bastard. As he shoeshined away, also leaving Naruto and Tenten. Naruto rubbed his arms and said, damn snakes, I think they were trying to break my arms. Tenten said, I'd rather have you with a broken arm than a broken heart. As she walked over and lifted his arms one at a time and checked them. Naruto said, "Why would I have a broken heart?" Tenten looked at him and said, "Because you didn't have time to eat this morning since we both had to get back to Konoha, and you just threw the first bite to eat you had all day away only after taking a few bites because of what that drunk said." Naruto asked, "And how would that make my heart break?" Tenten said, "Because you were thinking the shadow of Kyubi would always haunt you, and you would worry about what others would do to those you care about like me in order to hurt you." Naruto laughed and said, "And people say I'm observant." Tenten held up her left hand and said, "Have you forgotten already what is hidden here?" Naruto frowned and said, "No, I haven't, I just thought I could block those thoughts from you." Tenten said, "You did, but you couldn't block the feelings. Anko and Kushina may have thought they knew what you were thinking, but thanks to this I know what you were thinking and feeling. You are my husband." Naruto took her hand and kissed it and said, "And you are my wife. You know everyone's going to kill us when they find out." Tenten said, "I still can't believe we eloped like that." Naruto said, "Do you regret it?" Tenten shook her head and said, "I told you were never going to leave my side, and I'll never leave yours. Every day for all eternity, we are one. Your strength is my strength, my burdens are your burdens, and your pains are mine." Naruto said, "And my love is yours, and yours is mine." As he leaned in and kissed her. After they broke apart, Naruto was slapped across the face by Tenten and she glared at him and said, "And don't you ever do that with the photos again. The only one who gets to know what you look like that way is me." Naruto said, "I'm sorry, but you see, I wanted us to live together now that we are husband and wife, so I created a drain clone that is linked to the whirlpool seal that is powering mom and dad, and he's using the money to fix the cabin up enough where we could move in. That was what it was for. I wanted us to have our home together." Tenten eyes softened from the glare and said, "Fine, I'll forgive you this time, but don't do it again." Naruto said, "Yes, dear, they are coming." As he looked back toward the direction camp had been, and a few moments later the group landed in the clearing where Tenten and Naruto was, and Kakashi said, "Are you both ready?" Naruto said, "Yeah, why do women have to be so violent though? My face still hurts." As he rubbed where he had got slapped. Tenten said, "Because men never listen." As she crossed her arm. Kiba sniffed and said, "Hey, what's that smell?" As he looked around. Kakashi said, "What smell?" Kiba sniffed and said as he looked around, "I'm not sure what it is, I know it, but I can't think of where I smelled it from. It's something you don't smell in the woods, though in fact I know what it is, it's incense. It's faint but it's here, but why would someone be burning incense out here?" Naruto said, "Oh, I think that was me, Kiba. I was working on a seal to help mask a person's scent. It must be on my cloths." Kiba said, Yeah, that must be it. It just caught me off guard since I knew it shouldn't be. What's that boy? Well, she's been right next to him, so I guess his scent and the scent from the incense must have gotten on her as well." On the inside, Tenten and Naruto both relaxed. Kakashi said, "Well, we should get going then." Everyone in the same formation as before with the sensei in the middle guarding Tazuna and Guy. As the group got jumping in the tree a few minutes into it, Tenten missed a branch when she winced and she screamed as she started to fall to the ground when a yellow flash enveloped her, and as everyone's attention turned to there was Naruto holding Tenten bridal style. Ino was the first to recover and said, "What the hell just happened?" As she looked where Team 7 was, and then back to where Team 9 was. Tenten said, "Sorry about that everyone, I got a cramp in my leg when I went to make the jump and it caused me not to compensate correctly." As she stood up after Naruto set her down while also standing up. Sakura said, "But how did Naruto get to you like that?" Kitsune said, "Hiration, but the question I am wondering isn't how he knows that jutsu. I'm wondering how he used it to get to her location." Naruto said, "Don't worry about it. It's just something I was working on that I haven't gotten down yet. It was just a fluke accident, I was able to pull it off just then." Kitsune narrowed her eyes and said, "Well, anyways, are you able to continue?" Tenten said, "Yeah, sorry about that. I'll be more careful." Naruto looked worried and Tenten shot him a glare and he said, "Right, sorry about that. I heard you scream and reacted on instinct. Let's just get going." As he quickly got back up with his team. Kakashi said, "Well, if the drama is over, I think we should get underway again." Soon the group was back in the trees jumping in. Tenten saw several glances between her and Naruto and thought, "Damn it, I can't believe I did something so stupid as that." Tenten heard, "It's not your fault your leg cramped up on you." Tenten thought, "It wasn't my leg that cramped. I got a cramp in my back from sleeping on the ground last night." Naruto thought, "Sorry about that." I thought we could make it back to Konoha last night, but the wedding took too long to get organized and making it legal. Tenten thought, hey, it wasn't your fault, and I had fun laying next to you. I'm sorry, I'm not ready to give you a proper honeymoon though. Naruto blushed and said, no, I understand. Truthfully, I'm kind of glad you weren't ready to do that. I mean, I know what happened that one day when I thought Dad was taking over my body, but that actually scares me some. I mean, I've read so much about the female body from my research on seals that even though I know you could become a mother now, it isn't healthy for you or the baby because the baby is more likely to be born premature, and it also would do a number on your body and would most likely end your career if not your life, and I want to see you achieve your dream, so if it means keeping you safe then I have no problem waiting. Tenten blushed and thought, you are a dream guy Naruto-kun, thanks. As she withdrew the chakra from her ring finger along with Naruto doing so a few moments later. Kitsune thought, interesting, I wonder. I felt the chakra being used by both of them, and based on Tenten getting red I think she got embarrassed. Are they talking to each other? Chapter 15. When the group got to about a mile from the coast, Kakashi said, alright, I think we are close enough and should start setting up camp. Naruto, how long will it take you to do your thing? Naruto said, give me about 10 minutes for it to work. As he pulled out a scroll and unsealed another scroll and opened that scroll which was covered in seals. Naruto then placed his hand on one of the seals, and the scroll was covered with smoke, and when it cleared there was 30 birds of different shape and sizes, all adult, laying dead on the seals. Naruto then took out a seal bottle and brush and began to draw a line away from the scroll onto the ground where he drew another seal, and then he placed his hand on the seal and started to send chakra into it that caused the birds to begin to glow with chakra. Ino eyes widened and said, you didn't. Sakura asked, what's wrong Ino, what did he do? Ino bit her lip and said, there's a secret jutsu my clan uses, it's how we train ourselves to take over bodies. We start off practicing by learning to take over smaller weaker brains like those in birds. Naruto said, I kind of figured that out when I came to your family shop that day. You have that bird cage there in the front of your shop with a couple of birds in it, and I noticed that you were feeding them flower seeds. Ino said, of course we are going to feed them seeds. Naruto said, Ino, I may not be as smart as some people, but I know the noise those birds cause would distract people from looking at the flowers, so having them in the front of the store like that and giving it your potential profit as food was hurting your family business twice. That made me question why have a bird in the front of the store and why have birds in the first place. That's when I thought about your family jutsu and I figured out the reason for that bird being there is actually your dad's way of trying to help train you with your family jutsu, since I'm sure you get bored easily. He put it there so while you were working in the shop you could train. Oh come on, don't tell me you never figured that out. Damn it Ino, can't you take some motivation and try to help yourself for once without someone else having to take your hand? Never mind, I guess you're doing the same thing your dad does. As Ino had a shocked look on her face. The shocked look on her face turned to anger and said, what about my dad? Naruto said, simple, he puts all his trust into Shikaku's hands and votes, however he does on everything. Chusa does as well. Shikaku the brains, Chusa the brawn, and Anoichi the heart of their team, just like you three. Shikamaru could be replaced with someone else who's also smart like Shino. If Shikamaru died on a mission, Choji could also be replaced by someone like Kiba someday, but if something happened to you your team would be destroyed forever because neither have the heart to motivate themselves and you only motivate them when you have something you want to achieve. That was something your father figured out I bet from his own experience and was trying to teach you, which is why he put that bird in your shop in the first place and didn't tell you why. To motivate you into training yourself so you would motivate your teammates so all three of you would get stronger, but it looks like you had to have someone figure it out for you. Ninja don't have pets Ino, we have allies and companions. Our missions make it impossible to have an animal at home that needs to be taken care of like a bird in a cage. If you see a ninja with an animal, you can bet that animal has been trained to do something specific like fight, spy, or become a diversion. They're finally done. As the birds stopped glowing and began to move a moment before they disappeared in a swirl of leaves, shocking everyone. Ino said, what the hell, birds can't use ninjutsu, much less Shushin. Naruto said, true, but those are just bodies of birds. I actually took the idea of what I did from three sources: your clan jutsu, Akasuna no Sasori, and Orochimaru immortality jutsu. Kakashi frowned and said, puppets, you made them human, I mean bird puppets, didn't you? Naruto said, partially. What I did was killed them with poison from one of the bugs in the forest of death, and then after they were dead, I placed a preservation seal like hunter nins place on the heads of missing nins they kill so they don't decompose. I then placed a chakra storage seal on them and a seal I use for my Hydra kunais, but instead of having a Kage Bunshin create a body, I have it possess the bird's body like Orochimaru and Ino family does. Now by doing that I have made it where the birds can spy for me over long distances like this, but I haven't actually figured out how to fly yet. I figured out how to glide though, and I placed a seal that creates a shushin to get them back in the air again so they will glide as far as they can before the clones inside them will shushin them back into the air and they glide some more. I've gotten good enough with it, I can glide for about 5 miles between shushins and the birds can walk, but once the birds explore over there and they run out of chakra and die, I can summon them back to this scroll and then reseal them so they should have enough chakra to last until right before dawn and I will have all their memories so I can then tell everyone what I found. Hebe said Gaki, you're getting on dangerous ground there. Naruto said, I know what you're saying Hebe, believe me I do, but let me ask you something. Why do we have hunter nins who destroy the body and bring back only the heads? Kiba said because the head is all the proof you need to show you killed them and bringing a body back is a lot harder and messier. Naruto smiled and said partially, but you ever hear the saying dead men tell no tales? Well, whoever said that never met a ninja. By looking at a body of a ninja you could learn village secrets like food styles, training secrets, jutsu, mental and physical conditioning, and possible bloodlines, as well as other secrets. That is why we send out our own ninja after our missing nins, to keep our village secrets from being learned. It's also why they cut off the head where they kill the ninja at and not move it to a more secure location. So the chances of someone coming along and seeing something that could be a village secret is reduced. Ino said, so, you're saying other villages try and capture our missing nins also so they could learn our village secrets? Naruto said, Ino, all ninja villages do that, but you see in Suna they take it a step further. You heard Kakashi Seniai mention human puppetry. They actually do guys, there's 2 ninja on a ship heading this way. One's female dressed like a hunter nin from the hidden mist, but she's not really a hunter nin. Kurenai said, how can you tell she's a fake? Naruto frowned and said because she's standing right beside a Kiri missing nin with a huge sword, black hair / high gray cloth 6 feet 2 inches to 6 feet 4 inches, and she calls him Zabuza-sama. They're coming after the old man. I've got 2 birds staying near them on the ship and lost one in the water I'll have to summon later while the rest continue to head for Wade. Besides the sword, the Zabuza guy doesn't appear to have any other weapons as I don't see any weapon pouches on him. The girl Haku, her name's Haku, well that's an interesting plan. 1 bird left. Kakashi said, what plan? Naruto said they don't know how much protection the old man has, but they know the demon brothers failed to get to him. As a precaution, Zabuza is going to engage us by himself while Haku hides and waits to act like a hunter nin if he needs help and put him in a fake death with senbons and pressure points to save him. Kakashi said, good job Naruto, alright, the only Zabuza I can think of from Kiri that is a missing nin is Zabuza Momochi, a member of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. He became a missing nin after he attempted a coup against the Mizukage to take over the land of Naruto interrupted him grabbing his head and said ah shit. Tenten screamed Naruto, what's wrong? Naruto, who had fell to his knees, said damn that bitch. She can use ice. She just froze my last bird to death. Zabuza a censored, damn it, let me die quickly in the fires of hell, then die a slow death consumed by ice. As he was breathing heavy with Tenten at his side. Tenten asked what happened, why did you scream out like that? Naruto said the bird the memories transferred back. I got his memories of being frozen in place, feeling his lunges burning for air, feeling his fears, doubts and sorrow as his vision blurred as darkness slowly took him. That's the first time I've had a bunch in memory come to me from a slow painful death. The ice is strong to strong, actually it's got to be a bloodline because he used up every ounce of chakra he could with wind manipulation to try and break free, but the ice would repair every cut. Nearly instantly. As she rubbed his shoulders together and rocked lightly. Kakashi frowned and said, are you going to be alright, Naruto? Naruto said, yeah, just give me a few minutes, I've got memories of dying millions of times, but that was the first ever like that. I can understand why people fear death so much if it's like that. I'll take dying on the battlefield with a quick death, than dying like that. Tenten glared at him and said, you're not going to die any death for a long time, so stop talking about how you want to die. Naruto looked at her and took a deep breath and nods as he slowly stood up, and Kakashi said, can you continue, Naruto? Naruto said, yeah, but we need to seriously plan to counter those too. A large group like this will just cause them to back off and pick us off later one by one when our guard is down. Kakashi said, Zabuza, a master of silent killing. He covers the area with the hidden mist jutsu to blind his enemies and attacks them in that state. Naruto said, Asuma-sensei, you're a wind user, and you also Hebe, right? Both nod, and Naruto said, I think we should divide into 3 teams with me in one, Hebe in one and Asuma in the other. I know Hebe can use the great breakthrough no jutsu, and she taught it to me. Can you do it also, Asuma-sensei? Asuma nods and Naruto said the air is too saturated with water by the coast for us to try and pick a different location. The best we can do is keep him from using the hidden mist jutsu by blowing it away with the great breakthrough. Let him put it up, but then take it down, cost him his chakra for it. How many of you can use the Earth-style headhunter jutsu? Dragon Kakashi and Hibi raised their hands and Naruto said, Kakashi-sensei, I think you should be our ace in the hole. If you can use it to hide when he gets closer with the genin around the area where you are hiding, it should cover your chakra signature. Guy-sensei, I think your team along with the Umbu stand the best chance of tracking down the hunter Nin by hiding a few hundred yards back toward the fire country with Kitsune being a sensor. Also, you should be able to find and take her out before she can use her ice against you. Asuma and me can stop Zabuza hidden mist, and with 8 genins to support the 3 jounins, we can get him into a trap to either take him out or move him to where Kakashi-sensei is at. Kakashi said, but there wouldn't be 3 jounins and there are 9 genins if Guy's team follow your plan. Naruto said, but I'm not just a genin. I can act as him and make it appear I am filling in for the regular jounin who was injured along with the other genin for Team 7. Kakashi frowned and Kitsune said it's a good plan Kakashi and could give us an advantage and lure Zabuza out, but I'll replace Naruto who will replace me without revealing that. I may not be a wind user, but I do know how to use that jutsu. Kakashi said yeah, it's a good idea and would work. We got the advantage now by knowing they are coming. We might not later. Alright everyone, let's do it. Naruto head back with the Team Serpent and Team 9, but everyone be careful. 20 minutes later Zabuza and Haku were in the trees near the camp and Zabuza said Asuma Sarutobi and Kurina Yuhi and some other jounin I don't recognize, probably a newbie, which is why she only has 2 students. Must have lost one. Haku said, but one of them has a summoning contract for those birds. Zabuza said, probably the red-haired woman a Hyuga and Inuzuka and an Aburame, those 3 look like a Kimichi Nara and Yamanaka. I don't recognize any clan with pink hair or the other kid. Probably non-clan kids, so a tracking team and a capture team. The other was probably a combat team that wasn't trained right. Alright, Haku, we will proceed with the plan. Yuhi Genjutsu won't work against me in the hidden mist and Asuma is a close-range fighter. Without being able to see, the kids shouldn't be able to hit the broadside of a barn and the Aburame bugs won't like the water and the Inuzuka nose won't be able to track me. The Hyuga will also be blinded by the chakra in the air. Get ready. A few minutes later Naruto had his eyes narrowed in the distance and said something's not right. Hibi said, what makes you say that Gaki? Naruto said they can't detect us if my seal's tags around us as a void around us so our chakra isn't leaking out for them to detect. Zabuza and Haku have been in position to attack for several minutes now, but they haven't. Why? Hibi said they might be just trying to play a mental battle against us. I mean, they know that we know they are coming. They might be waiting to make the pressure grow. On jounins it won't be much, but for genins like you it's working. You're getting nervous and we'll tip our hand early. Just then a shout of what the hell are they waiting on? Was heard and Hibi said, told you, remind me to have a chat with Pinky when this is over. A mist began to cover the area ahead of them and Dragon said wait for it. 2 shouts of wind-style great breakthrough no jutsu. Was heard and suddenly the mist was blown away and Dragon said go. Back with the rookie genins Kushina and Asuma had just blown the mist away when Zabuza, who had landed on the ground in the middle of the genin, silently jumped back as Kakashi jumped out of the ground with a kunai slicing Zabuza in his leg and stomach. Zabuza growled and said, so this was your surprise. Just then a shout of leaf whirlwind was heard before a blur shot past as Haku was sent flying into the tree a few feet away with her arms crossed, blocking most of the impact from the kick. Team 9 and Team Serpent arrived surrounding Zabuza and Haku and Naruto said, give up Zabuza, you're surrounded and your chakra is also disrupted so you can't use ninjutsu to leave. At this everyone's eyes widened and Zabuza tried to use his chakra and frowned as he found it wasn't working and he said, Haku, are you alright? Haku said, I think my arm might be fractured or broke. The kid in green is faster than me in that jutsu. My chakra isn't working either. Zabuza took in his surroundings and after a moment asked, how is our chakra disrupted? Naruto said, secret. Zabuza narrowed his eyes, still holding his sword, and said, I see, but whatever it is that is being done isn't just affecting me, I can tell that you can't use chakra as well. Naruto smirked as a second him appeared next to him and said, don't make assumptions, no brows. Zabuza thought, shit, they can still use chakra and Haku and I both can't and are both injured, looks like I let my pride get the best of me and got Haku caught also. And said, and I suppose there's no way we might be able to make a deal of some kind. Naruto said there might be. Kakashi said Naruto, what are you doing? Naruto said let's see where this plays out. You told us Zabuza here failed in a coup against the Mizukage. Which one? Zabuza frowned and said the Yonde Mizukage Yagura, the Jinchuriki of the Sanbai. And I didn't fail, I was betrayed by Kisame who ratted us out and helped defend Yagura, him and that damn Sharingan bastard who's controlling Yagura. Sasuke said Itachi. Zabuza glanced at him and said no, it wasn't Itachi. My coup was right after Itachi killed his clan. Itachi was 13 or 14 then. The guy I was fighting was an adult. He had on the Uzukage face mask. Kushina said, are you sure about that? Zabuza said, yeah, my mother told me all about Whirlpool, her home. She told me all about her clan and the Great Whirlpool. How the Uzumaki clan ruled Whirlpool, and any of them could speak as leader since they were all united. That was why there was no true leader of Whirlpool, there was the Uzukage mask. Whichever Uzumaki wore it was the one who spoke as leader at that time. Kushina narrowed her eyes and said, what is your mother's name? Zabuza looked at her a moment and said, why should I tell you? Kushina said, because only 2 clans knew that secret you just told. Now what is her name? Zabuza said, and how much you willing to pay for that info? Asuma said, you're not in a position to question us. Kakashi, let's just kill him and continue our mission. Kushina said no. Not yet, my name is Kushina Namake's wife of Minato Namake's Yondaime Hokage of Konoha, and yes, he is back alive because like him I was also dead and given another chance at life. Right now, your life is only being spared on a whim. My whim? The others are holding only on my orders because they know I can speak with my husband and have him agree to whatever I say usually. Now I have a pretty good idea what Naruto was asking you for because you see I was poisoned and died because of an assassin sent by the Sande Mizukage. Now after you said the Yonde Mizukage was the one you tried to kill, his interest in you was over. However, when you said there was another Sharingan user out there, you gained his attention since we all thought only 2 Uchiha were left alive, but you gained my interest in the fact you knew a very closely guarded secret. So here's the deal, you answer all our questions, let Naruto put a couple of seals on both you and the girl there and aid us on this mission, and I'll personally see to it that you have an audience with my husband about either becoming a Konoha ninja or a spy for Konoha. If you become a spy for Konoha, then as long as you do not commit any crimes against Konoha or the Land of Fire, then we will warn you about hunters other countries have out, not send any of our own after you, and also offer you missions as well as payment for any info you have that could be considered a threat to Konoha, the Fire Country, or our allies. Kakashi said, Kushina-sama, surely you can't. Kushina said, quite Kakashi. I know what I am doing, and I take full responsibility for this. Zabuza said, and what happens if we become Konoha ninja? Kushina said, I know there will be restrictions placed on you, pay deduction, probation period, security restrictions, as well as security detail. The girl, she has a bloodline, right? Zabuza frowned and Kushina said she'll be required to have a son who can start a clan. If her firstborn is a daughter, she will have to have another child until she has a son. That is a law regarding all bloodlines who join Konoha from another country who could claim them if they can't be claimed as part of the Fire Country. Luckily, she won't have to start until she's 18. Zabuza scowled and said, and who would be the father? Kushina said she will have till then to find someone for that role, or the council will have the right to choose one for her. Haku said, I am but a tool, Zabuza-sama, so do not worry about me. Naruto said, who the fuck told you that bullshit? You are a human being. You are not a tool. Haku looked at Naruto and said, you do not understand. I am originally from a village in the northern part of the Land of Water. There the people have a hate for those who have bloodlines, because they feel that bloodlines are the source of the wars that plagued their land for years. My mother possessed a bloodline, but she hid it. One day I activated my bloodline and I showed it to her and she slapped me and told me to never do it again. At the time I didn't know why, but my father had seen me do it and realized the truth about me and my mother. Later that night he returned home with several others who murdered my mother, and then they turned to come and murder me. My bloodline activated again and killed my father and the other men. After that I had to live on the streets, barely surviving, going many days without finding something to eat. Trying to keep dry and warm when I could to try and keep from getting sick because I had no money or place to rest. Then one day Zabuza-sama appeared. He offered me a purpose, a reason to live, to serve him as his tool. A tool to be used and thrown away. You could not understand what it was like. Naruto closed his eyes and said softly, yeah, I do anything for that person, even die. I can understand that better than you know, but so what? Just because you would do anything for that person doesn't mean you are not human, flesh and blood with your own feelings and dreams. It does not make you an emotionless tool. Emotions is what separate those like you and me from the real monsters, the real demons. They live by instinct, while we live by our emotions. The moment you truly give up your emotions, you become what they claimed you were. People say that ninja are nothing more than tools to be used and thrown away, but tools are not something you just use and then throw away. A tool is something you use, then take care of. If it dulls, sharpen it. If it breaks, fix it, and when it is ready to be used again, then put it where you can find it when you have need of it again. You don't throw a tool away. Once you have used it as much as you can and have no more need of it, then you give it to someone else who has need of it. As ninja, we are given a mission, which is our purpose. Once we finish the mission, we return home and prepare for the next time we are needed. Just because one person is done with us, does not mean that there isn't others who don't have a need for us. A new mission, a new purpose. You're a woman, so let me ask you this: if you had several children and one grew up and didn't need you anymore, would you be a tool to be thrown away? No, you still have your duty to take care of your other children, and someday the child who grew up will have a need for you. It may not be the need of a mother, but it could be the need of a grandmother or a great-grandmother. That's also another option for tools who are broken and can't be fixed. They can be reforged into something that can still be used. I can see it, I can see it in your eyes, the desire to have a life besides that of a ninja on the run. But I also see the guilt you have because Zabuza saved you and gave you a reason to live, that you wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for him, so you must repay him even with your life, putting your own dreams, your own life aside for him. Zabuza interrupted him and said, "Kid, shut up, just shut up, you made your point." As everyone was surprised as they saw tears falling from Zabuza's eyes. Zabuza closed his eyes a moment and said, "Your words are 1,000 times sharper than any blade. Haku deserves a life better than this. I don't care what happens to me, I'll serve you or do whatever it is you wish of me in exchange for her a new chance at life." As he first looked at Naruto, and then Haku, and then Kushina. Kushina said, "Keep your word, and I'll do all that I can to see that she has as long as she needs to find someone to start a family with." Zabuza nods and said, "What is it you wish of me then, Namikaze-sama?" Before he bows to her, Kushina said, "Start with your mother, and then inform us of everything you can up till you met us." Zabuza nods and said, "My mother was a brothel slave. The man who owned her was a retired ninja who captured her during the attack on the Whirlpool village before it was destroyed. Her name was Yuki Ukami." At this several eyes widened, but none more than Tenten and Kushina. Kushina said, "Yuki, but proceed." Zabuza frowned and said, "You knew her?" Kushina said, "Yes." "Please continue. How was she captured?" Zabuza said, "She told me there was a ship with her daughter on it along with the heiress of the Uzumaki clan that was escaping from the land of water. The ship was going to be attacked by a man who looked like a fish. I know now that it was Kisame, but she didn't know who he was. She jumped out on the water and engaged Kisame with." Kushina said, "Samahata." Zabuza said, "Yeah, she was able to wield that blade and was beating Kisame with it when she was attacked from behind, who came up out of the water and cut her calf muscles. It caused her to fall and was knocked out. The man who cut her became her master, and Kisame took Samahata as his blade. I don't know who my father was, as I was given the name Momochi since it was the name of the brothel my mother was a slave at. She trained me in secret as I grew up. She had this blade made from a blacksmith who was one of her Johns, who she rewarded the only way she could. The day she died was the same day the genin were to graduate from the Hidden Mist Academy. I had heard about how they made the academy students eat, sleep, and live together until the day they graduated, where they had to fight each other to the death. You lived, you became a ninja, you died, game over." In my rage, I went to the academy to make the Hidden Mist pay for not only everything that happened to my mother but also her home. I went there and slaughtered the entire graduating class. I was taken as an apprentice of Mai Terumi. She helped teach me the art of silent killing, and then I was given the offer to join the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. I agreed because I wanted a chance to get my revenge on Kisame for what happened to my mother, but I knew I wasn't strong enough yet. The rest is basic. I eventually got tired of the death and destruction of those who had bloodlines, and I got together those who I could to cause a diversion while I went after Yagura. When I got there, Kisame, and that Sharingan bastard, was there and defended Yagura, who looked like he was under a genjutsu or something. Kisame said he found out about my plans and I was forced to flee, and on my way out I met Haku on a bridge and thought that if I couldn't save the country yet I could at least save one. We left and I began to train her, and she grew and got stronger, and now here we are." Naruto blinked as he heard a noise behind him and said, "Why the hell did you get popcorn, Hebe?" Hebe said, "You can't pay for drama this good. I can't wait for what's about to happen when no brows learns Buns here is in fact his niece." As she took a bite of popcorn, several people glared at Hebe as Zabuza's eyes widened and said, "Niece." Tenten said yeah, my mother was named Evi and my grandmother was named Yuki. Kushina said I am Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. Zabuza said then you're the heiress of the Uzumaki clan. Kushina nods and Zabuza asked what about my sister? Tenten said dead. Kushina said the Sandai Mizukage sent an assassin who poisoned both Evi and me, and since we were both pregnant it was designed us after we gave birth. We didn't know about it for Evi, but after having her body examined we found the poison in her and in me, but there was no cure. Zabuza clenched his fist and said do I have any other nieces or nephews? Naruto crossed his arms and Tenten said I'm an only child. Zabuza said oh damn it, this is fucked up. Naruto said trust me no brows, this isn't anything compared to the last 4 months for us. At this point it wouldn't surprise me if you turned out to be the bastard child of Madara Uchiha. Zabuza said just who the hell are you blonde rat? Naruto said Naruto Uzumaki, former Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Zabuza eyes widen a moment and said former. Questioningly. Naruto said yeah, I extracted the demon but kept his power. Now that we got most of the shit taken care of, can you tell us about what's going on over in Wave? We're kind of expecting the shit to hit the fan on this mission, and we don't mean you. Zabuza said yeah, as he began to explain what he saw in Wave.
Thank you for your views, likes, subscriptions, and overall support of my ongoing efforts to bring great content to all of you. Check out my Patreon for more mature fanfiction. The link is in the description and like everywhere on my channel.